I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Oh, I'm definitely tight. Man, what is up? Good day, everybody. Happy Black Friday. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Man, shout out to Dory in the building, man. Good to see you, bro. Good to see you. For sure. Listen, it's just me, Oos. Just me rocking the day. So, I am not going to belabor the point because, man, I got a lot to say. I was going to go a little bit live later, but I'm ready now. We'll do it live. So, listen. I was graced by the YouTube gods to see a video, and I could not believe what I heard. I'm going to share it with you. Like George Costanza's father, I got a lot of grievances with you people. You're going to hear about it. So, man, this dude, Jason Wilson, he's been held up as a pillar of manhood, masculinity, especially when it comes to black men and boys, but just the proper way to not be toxic, not be harmful, not be the fake machismo, bravado, alpha, not be that guy. Work clerk, man, shout out to you, man. Appreciate it. Man, it's going to be a long ride. We got a lot of material to go through. I got a whole presentation, man. I was working on this one. I was like, this one got me so hot. Dory, this one got me so hot. I did visual aids, not just video reactions. I got assets like this background. That's like from the cover of his book. And I got, you know what I'm saying? I got like little overlays and stuff. You know what I'm saying? We did the work. You know what I'm saying? We got definitions, man. We doing it big today because he deserved it. So, shout out to Mr. He Said in the building, man. Good to see you, man. If y'all got stuff going on, man, Black Friday, y'all shopping. If y'all working, go ahead, sit back, keep your little earbud in. It's going to be a nice little long one. I'm going to be cooking for a minute. I got several sections, but what I can do while a couple of you are here, tell you what the sections are going to be. Because I did prepare. This one's prepared. Chapter 1 is going to be the actual video reaction. The thing that I saw that got me hot. I'm going to go over that and debunk points from the video. Then I'm going to go over to, well, IB's in the chat, man. I left a comment. My man responded to it. So I'm like, okay, we're going to go over that. Now, then I'm going to show you him. I'm going to show you him contradicting him because that's what we do. I think Mr. He said at one time, it's like people forget that what they say is recorded. People forget that the things they say are being videotaped. How do you forget that? How do you forget that you went on an interview? How do you forget these things that you already said before? So we're going to do that. Then I'm going to actually say what the actual proper principles are that he's misquoting, misapplying. We're going to go through that. And then chapter 5, my favorite chapter, that's the messy chapter. That's where I'm just being ignorant and let my creativity run wild on this Negro, like the Hawkamaniacs. Ran wild on him. Got this man looking real bad. But that's what we're going to do. Chapter 2 and 3 are going to be kind of short. Chapter 1, a reaction, I don't know. Chapter 4, Chapter 5, those might be extended. But we'll see. I'm anticipating being here about 3 hours. Yeah, man. Yeah, came with the smoke, man. With the smoke. Had my desk finish my work for the day. Smash these leftovers, man. Let's go. Cool, man. Appreciate y'all for rocking with me. But listen, we are going to get into this. I am going to at some point have these banners up so that when I'm scrubbing through, I want to do timestamps for this so people can get to the point, because this is about a public figure. But I think it needed to be called out. Anyone that follows me, anyone that's listened to me for an extended period of time, I know both of you have heard me say, I hate everybody. Ain't no one group that I hate. I ain't that person. I don't just hate white people. I don't just hate Jews. I don't just hate God. I hate everybody. I'm just that guy. I'm a hater. God put that in me. Whatever God is, he put that in me. And I know I be giving women grief with my misogyny. You criticize a woman as misogyny. I got that. I'll take that. I'll take that charge. Guilty, Your Honor. And it would be easy to wonder why I don't go at men the same way. This is why. Because I do not have any internal feeling that there is a need to protect men. I have no gut level reaction like, ooh, that's too far. Ooh, I shouldn't do that. Ooh, I've got nothing other than, well, we might get into a fight. That's the only thing that I have that I'll hold back from a dude. Like, dang, I might have to fight. I don't feel like doing that today. I don't feel like tussling. That's the only thing. But women, there's a lot of I shouldn't say that. Ooh, that might hurt feelings. Ooh, that might look bad. Don't have that with dudes. So I'm going there today. Anybody that thinks I've ever been hard on a woman, man, you have the opportunity today to watch me nitpick a nitwit, Jason Wilson, using his own words and actions until you might just be swayed. You might be swayed like I now am, that this man is a satanic grifter. Because that's what my observations turned up. And it didn't even take a long time. I didn't even need to look hard. I didn't even have to do much. I probably spent equal opportunity hater. I probably spent the least amount of time. I did like one Google search and found evidence for what I was looking for. It was crazy. I was like, wait a minute. It can't be this easy. It can't be this easy. So why should you care? Anybody that's listening, anybody that might catch this replay, why should you care? Everybody right now, and when I say everybody, it's a generalization. Absolutes don't really exist. It's just a large generalization. A lot of people are talking about men and the state of masculinity and manhood all across the globe. Men are down bad, loneliness epidemic. Men have no social circles. Men have no friend groups. Men, we're down. I get it. I'm there. I believe you. I see it. I am it. Men are down bad. So what we cannot afford are people that are preying upon the vulnerable. If men were seen the same way as handicapped people, as people with autism, women, children, elderly, everybody be like, oh, we need to protect them from these fools. But nobody's doing that because men are supposed to be capable at all times. That's just the burden that's been placed on men. We have to be capable. You have to figure it out. But there are a lot of vulnerable men. Everybody's willing to say that. Everybody is willing to say there's a male loneliness epidemic. Everybody's saying that the boys are lost. And then you have people like Jason Wilson stepping up to guide them, to help them, which seems wonderful on its face. There's a man who's exhibiting masculinity with tenderness and care and patience and wisdom. And he's not coming with any of that machismo. You can't cry. Don't cry in front of me. He's not doing any of that. He grew to fame because of his videos with his dojo. The young men in his dojo, when they would break down in tears when they got frustrated or they lost confidence, he would coach them up, but with love, and instill guidance and lessons that they could take with them for the rest of their lives. It was amazing. I was a fan until yesterday. So that's why it's important, because there are people who are influencing a generation of young men that are vulnerable, that are susceptible to influence, and not every influence is good. And I am of the ilk that if you fall for somebody like Fresh and Fit, you see those clowns and you believe it. I mean, that's on you. Like, because they're obviously weirdos. They're obviously not who they say they are. They're obviously on their own channel telling you we're not who we say we are. The dude had a whole girlfriend. He's saying she's packing my condoms. I'm such a player. She's packing my condoms. But he wasn't even sleeping with his girlfriend. And if that doesn't tip you off that there's a problem there, there's nothing that I can say that might even help you in the least, because you won't listen to me. You need somebody's flash of money. You need somebody that's got a fancy car. You need somebody with a yacht to tell you something for you to believe it. I'm never going to be that. I'm okay with that. But see, Jason Wilson, somebody like him who comes with soft words, not tricky words like Mark Lamont Hill, somebody that comes with soft words, women and men alike will see him as non-threatening. He'll be neutral. He'll be acceptable. He's palatable. Yeah, if you fall for Pearly, you're an idiot. The woman is telling women what they should be, but she's not it either. That's crazy. That always reminds me of Hitler and the master race. Bro, you're not even the master race. Why are you leading the people? It doesn't make sense to me. But that's how people are. There's demons out here, man. You got to protect yourself at all times. Big facts, man. Hey, yo, Greg Bryan in the building, man. Good to see you, bro. Good to see you for sure. So that's why I think people should care. If you are a man that is in the place of vulnerability, I don't think it's anybody here. Everybody here has kind of got their stuff sorted out. But if some young man were to come upon this, some man, even in their 30s and 40s, that felt lost, it's important for you to be able to critically think and look and parse through information and people's opinions. And I'm going to give you a different lens than what's being offered. You should not accept it. And I'm going to show you a lot of examples. I've got a lot of material. Okay, I got a lot of material. I'm going to show why it's dangerous, because people accept things from influencers. They accept it because you're famous. So these men are out here. Some of these men are married. Like, so these are older men too. It just shocks me how susceptible people are, how vulnerable people are, how malleable people are. So that's why it's important, if you love a man, if you are a man, if you're going to raise a man, this is important for that. Because people will come dressed as sheep, meek and mild, but inwardly they're ravening wolves. There are books that teach that. Some of y'all know what they are. But they say the road to hell is paved with good intentions. But in the Manosphere, red pill space, it is paved with ninjas like Jason Wilson. What up, Inya? Good to see you. I don't know if I greeted you. My mind be slipping. I'm getting old. But good to see you. And when I say ninjas, I don't just mean black people. Like I said, I hate everybody. Everybody's a ninja. Anybody can be a ninja. But this ninja here, Jason Wilson, is teaching men to, he's got his Mojo Dojo Casa house. He's teaching men to kick and punch and meditate. Sounds wonderful. But he's also teaching them to fear the dictionary. He is building an army of men who are physically dangerous, but emotionally brittle. And in this space, there is no one that is more dangerous than a man who is deathly wrong, but speaks with the conviction of a saint. Jason Wilson, he sounds deep. He sounds profound. He sounds wise. He sounds protective. He sounds like what you would want your father to be like, tender and calm, but still expressive and demonstrates masculinity. That he sounds right. He hits all the right notes. But I promise you, this guy he has gotten high on his own supply. He has to have. That's the only thing that makes sense when I go through what I'm going to go through today. Because now he's engaging in verbal acrobatics and mental gymnastics to validate men's trauma rather than to heal it. So he's going to let people sit in it rather than solve it. He has become a very kind idiot out here on the internet. Or here's the opposite. I can take that he's an idiot. I can take that he's a big dummy. I can live with that.
You big dummy.
I can live with that all day, every day. But there's also another possibility. He may have determined that he could take more from men monetarily by becoming one of these cult figures, by becoming a leader, by becoming the coach. We got Alonzo Hall in the building. Good to see you. Good to see you. I just came in so you couldn't greet me because I'm here just now. Okay. I hear you. There's a possibility, a strong possibility, because money is what people chase. That he could have become susceptible. He could have sold out. And now he is becoming somebody that is just trying to siphon everybody to their paid services. I'm not really trying to help. I'm trying to help myself. So that one of those two, either he's a complete moron or he's a grifter. He's turned into a grifter, which would be sad to me because, again, like I said, up until yesterday, I was a fan because what I saw, the little I saw, he looked commendable. He looked like he was doing a lot of public service. And we see that sometimes. A lot of people who are out there doing public service are also doing bad in the background. So that's always a possibility. So is this new language you're saying? Absolutely. And I'm going to demonstrate that today. So matter of fact, let me just go over this real quick again. The order of operations. I've got 5 chapters. My man wrote a book, so I wrote one too. So chapter 1, I'm going to react to the video that triggered this string. I'm going to react to the video that triggered me and debunk points in it. Then I left a comment on the video. He responded to it. So we're going to take a look because, I'm messy. I like mess. And that could be a problem. Maybe he can help me solve it. Maybe I should tap into his Patreon. Then I'm going to show you, to your question, Anaya, in chapter 3. And it's going to be a short chapter. I'm going to show you how he did a total reversal on his stance inside of a year. Quick turnaround, which that's what gave me the thing. Like, maybe this is a grift. People, them Candace Owens people that used to sue somebody for racism and then say racism doesn't exist. When people had those really sharp turnarounds, like complete 180, it gives me pause. Like, you had a Damascus experience, and now up is down, left is right. That tips me off that there's a problem. Something rotten is in Denmark. Chapter 4, I'm going to actually go over the right way to look at what he's saying. He's giving the wrong way, in my opinion, but you get to decide for yourself. Obviously, you're adults. And I want to show some materials that say how to do it the right way. And then 5 is the complete mess. There's nothing here but mess. There's nothing here but me making accusations, but they're not baseless. Anybody that knows me or has seen me, I don't make baseless accusations. So I found footage, and I'm going to roll that beautiful bean footage. So when I say this man is either a satanic grifter or an idiot, I'm going to show you why. Because it's one of the two. There's no third option. There is no he has good intent. Nah, that's not. Either he's an idiot with good intent, or he has bad intent. It's one of the two. Either he's dummy and he's not safe for public consumption because he's stupid. And we shouldn't follow stupid people. Ever. We need to get in the habit of telling stupid people that they're stupid and what they said was stupid. If they say something wrong, we need to point that mess out. We gotta quit letting it ride. Now, if he's dangerous, if he's harmful, if he actually is just preying upon men and boys, and I don't mean sexually, I mean taking advantage of their vulnerability. If that's what he's doing, we need to call that out too, because it's one or the other. I found the evidence, and it's either one or the other. Yeah, I got receipts. Yeah, we're gonna have a mess on Black Friday. Yeah, black on black Friday for sure. Could be an idiotic satanic grifter. And see, idiots don't make good grifters. I don't think. I think you got to have a little bit of acumen to be a good grifter. You got to know what people want at least. You may not be educated, but you have an intellect that is attuned to the way people move. When I say idiot, that means you don't have a zone of intelligence, typically. But he does. He's got, like, if nothing else, he has he's in like martial arts. So if nothing else, he has the physical intellect, the ability to move in space, judge distances. That's an intellect too, because everybody can't do that. Everybody's not skilled at manipulating their own body and the bodies of others. So if nothing else, All right, so let's get into Let me see. So I've got the reaction. That's chapter 1. Got some concepts. So I'll go through all that. Showed you the 5 chapter cards. So let us get into, because he's got the cave of Abdullah or something. He's got the cave of something. It's the cave of a dummy for me. His dojo of delusion. So we're about to get into that. Let me pull up the video. I'm going to leave this up here so I can easily find this section of the video, and then I'm going to put timestamps in just in case somebody watches this on replay, because I did make sure I tag that fool. Give me a second. Because out of all the stuff I prepared, for whatever reason, I did not put this one video. Oh, it's in the description. Where's the description? I put it in the description. Let me just grab it. Oh, no idea why I didn't put that video on my notes, but I did. All right. And is anybody else shopping on Black Friday while I'm stalling for time? Come on, what I do with it? There we go. Got it. All right. Share the video. Share screen. Blah, blah, blah. Boom. All right. So hopefully my system will let me play this without issue. Got him up. Cool. So we here now. Is he leftovers? That's what's up. Yeah. I need me some of them. I'm getting, you know what I'm saying? I'm getting a little hungry, man. I'm getting a little hungry. I could eat. But this is Mr. Jason Wilson, for anybody that did not know. Has risen to fame again for his tender masculinity. The way he was able to coach boys up who were breaking down, who may not have been used to male leadership and male guidance. I'm going to show an example of what that looked like. But this is the video, like I said, this still got me mad. Why men should never be vulnerable. Now that title y'all may be like, yeah, that makes sense. Y'all may be like, that sounds stupid. I don't know where you guys land, but I will show you where I landed. But I'm going to let him talk himself in circles for a quick second.
Today, I want to talk about why it's difficult for me and many men, and maybe even yourself, to embrace the word vulnerable or vulnerability. This isn't about machismo or emotional suppression. This is about truth, definition, discernment, and application. A man recently told me that his...
Now, real quick, he said truth, definition, discernment, and application. That's important. Definitions matter. So, because they matter so much, I brought definitions. We got definitions. All right? Because it's that important. And he put it in his opening. That definitions are important. So we're going to stick with that ourselves.
Therapist encouraged him to be vulnerable, and this happens often. Mm-hmm. But this man became very angry and said, Mr. Wilson, and I'm going to keep it clean here. He says, I ain't no B. I have a...
His therapist, somebody's therapist, mentioned being vulnerable. And this guy says, now mind you, he might have said it to the therapist. We don't know, but he said it to this guy. He was so disturbed by being asked or directed to be vulnerable that he speaks to a whole nother human being elsewhere. He says, I ain't no bitch. I ain't no bitch. Now, right there, that was the first thing that perked my little ears up. If I was a dog, my little ears would, that's kind of odd.
Major issue with the word vulnerable. It conflicts with who I am as a man and my spirit. And I told him, brother, it should. Because
all right. Vulnerable should conflict with who you are as a man. That's the premise on the table from our dear leader, Mr. Wilson. God, please never let men like these raise daughters. Vulnerability equals big. Exactly. Okay, so I'm not the only person that sounds crazy to. All right. Now, again, this guy is raising a lot of young boys to be men. And the person reaches out to him knew that he was a safe place to say, I ain't no bitch, because I'm vulnerable. I ain't no bitch. Okay. That's now again, this is a therapist. A therapist, the safe space. The safe space. This guy recoiled from the safe space to Mr. Wilson to tell him that he ain't no bitch. Therapist ain't gonna get me to be vulnerable. Therapist ain't gonna get me to be vulnerable. What I look like? What I look like being vulnerable? Fuck that. Hell no. Hell to the no.
Because a warrior spirit is not designed to seek vulnerability by the true essence of that word. No man should desire for himself or his family to be vulnerable or in a vulnerable position.
Now y'all just heard that. Nobody should seek vulnerability, and nobody should desire for their family to be vulnerable. So then you have to wonder, what does he mean by vulnerable? Because I would want the people around me to have emotional vulnerability, to be able to be comfortable trusting me with their sensitive thoughts and feelings, things that they were concerned about, things that mattered to them. I would want them to feel that I was the type of human being that they could be vulnerable with. I would seek that out. I would offer that. I want that in my life. Because that vulnerability is what allows for deep, meaningful connection. So then you have to wonder, what does he mean by vulnerability? I'm going to let him say it. Does it seem that a lot of the followers of these types of dudes are looking for a daddy father figure? Yes. Him, Jordan Peterson, I would say Kevin Samuels, which is why they called him the Godfather. A lot of people are seeking surrogate fathers. A lot of men, red pill space, manosphere, are looking for replacement fathers. They've got mother wound and father wounds. They got the absent father, so they're looking to fill his shoes. And then they have the harmful mother or the negligent mother. Either she was abusive or she was negligent, because again, she was shouldering the boat. That's not an excuse. But just the fact is that if one person handling the entire family, and this is probably somebody that did not make wise choices, period. A lot of these single, they were not wise choice makers. So if you got somebody that's not a wise choice maker, they're probably not going to be a wise parent. So they have a lot of harm or neglect in their lives. So they've got a mother wound and a father wound from the absent father and the neglectful or harmful mother. So these people are trying to fix it on both ends. But they're trying to fix it the wrong way, of course, because they're maladaptive. You have two wounds. Wounds is a vulnerability. If you look up the root word of vulnerable, it basically means woundable. The vulnerable is something from Latin, but it means wound. The original word was a literal wound, but it over time adopted more meanings of just more than physical wounds. It also meant like emotional wounds, mental wounds, financial wounds. Vulnerable meant any type of wound that you could carry. Over time, it added those additional contexts. But originally, it just meant a physical. Oh, you got stabbed? You were vulnerable. What up, Bo? Good to see you. I will say that Peterson, as much as I dunk on him, his advice isn't overtly harmful. I agree for the most part. When he's actually talking about like psychological principles, how to take care of your mind, his stuff is useful. I wouldn't listen to him so much on his personal preferences that he applied on race and gender. That's where like he stepped in out of like practical, demonstrable psychology, sociology. He stepped into personal feelings. I'm not going to do that. I don't want to do that. Why should I have to? But that's fair. He's allowed to have his personal opinions. But again, we're going back to Jason Wilson, who should be getting ready to divine vulnerability. As he said, men should not seek it and they should not want it for their families.
See, the problem isn't the intention behind what his therapist said. The problem is the language. Most people today use vulnerability to mean emotional openness or transparency.
All right. So most people today use vulnerability to mean open and transparent. So capable of being easily hurt or harmed physically, mentally, or emotionally. This is Merriam-Webster. So accepted dictionary. Or open to attack, harm, or danger. Assailable. All right, those are the definitions. So let's see what he says. So the first one would apply. Being open to harm, emotionally, physically, whatever. Open to harm. Any type of harm, that's vulnerable. That's how the Merriam-Webster has the very first primary definition. Let's see what he says.
But the actual definition of vulnerability means susceptible to danger, harm, or even death.
Wow. So he has taken the second denotation. He's taken the second one and made that the meaning of vulnerability. So if yes, nobody should be seeking to be attacked. Like as a normal human being, as a normal citizen in your day-to-day life, it doesn't make sense to seek to be attacked. It would be weird. I would even say somebody that's in combat sports isn't seeking to be attacked. They want to be the attacker and the victor. But like, I don't know that anybody would be, I don't even think that anybody in their stretch of their mind would think that's what anybody means when they say vulnerable. I don't think that anybody on the earth, when they say, I want you to be vulnerable, is saying, I want you to want to be attacked. I want you to want to be attacked. Who would say that? Who would say that to their kids? Who would say that to their spouse? Why would you take that denotation and make it the connotation of what people are meaning when they're saying vulnerable? Interesting how the meaning of a word could shift the whole context. Exactly. Letting someone help you through a struggle is one of the best ways to build human bonds. Yes, it is. If you take the first denotation, the first definition, you have to be capable of being hurt to open yourself up to help. Anybody that can help you can hurt you. A hand up can be a hand down. I don't understand why you would even try to put the second definition in place of the first one. Nobody's asking their husband or their, hey, son, I know you had a rough day at school today, and I need you to tell me how you felt about what happened. Nobody in that moment, when they're asking or seeking vulnerability, seeking them to tell them what their thoughts were, what hurt them, wants them to want to be harmed. That's dumb. That's stupid. But that's a minute into his video. The therapist that asked the man to be vulnerable was asking him to want to be harmed. Why? Does that make any sense? How did you, and you are a leader of men and boys, and that's what you took away? I swear to God, that had me tight.
Now think about that for a moment. Yah the Most High did not design man to desire to be susceptible to danger. He designed man to protect, to guard, to cover, to love, and to stand watch.
Now, this is going to be a quick one. This is a quick hitter. This isn't even in my notes. You are leaving yourself open for attack, but you are not soliciting or welcoming attack. Exactly. So then this goofbot brings in God, which, you know, I'm not a Christian. I am absolutely not a Christian. But I grew up, but I stayed at the Holiday Inn Express. So I am familiar with a lot of Christian principles. I've read the Bible at least once cover to cover, multiple times, but I study. I'll go in and I'll get the different versions. I'll get the literal translations. I will go into the concordance, the Strong's Concordance, and look up the words and how other places that they've been used in the Bible, what context was it used in other places in the Bible. I'll study. So what I know when he says God did not design us to be vulnerable, I gotta call cat, because you must not have read the first chapter. The first chapter. Okay, second. What I'm going for is in a second. Adam and Eve. When God made Adam, he said that it was not good that he should be alone, which means he was vulnerable in some capacity. God tried to solve Adam's vulnerability problem. You're vulnerable in some capacity. You need a helper. You need to help me. You need a companion. You need something, bro. Something ain't right. You need something. Yes. Then when they ate of the fruit, they say, oh, we're naked. Vulnerable. You're exposed to the elements. And then you're going to say God didn't intend it. Then why did God have a fruit of everlasting life that he talked about in chapter 3? Which means that they were susceptible to death, which is a vulnerability. So again, we're not 2 minutes in. He has strayed from the definition in that makes sense from the actual dictionary. He's left the reservation of the dictionary. Maybe he's too cool for dictionaries. I'm too Christian. God doesn't believe in dictionaries. The word of God is the only thing I believe in. But then you didn't even read that. Because you don't even have to read the entire book to realize that God did make the vulnerable. He made him vulnerable. Then kicked him out of the garden and made him even more vulnerable. There's nothing but vulnerability. He was vulnerable and susceptible to his wife when he took the fruit from her. There's nothing but vulnerability sprinkled throughout the Bible in every single figure that is prominent, whether that's Moses, whether that's Jacob who turned into Israel, whether that's Jesus Christ himself. All of them were vulnerable. So this man didn't even read the first 3 chapters and understand them. There's a difference between being literate and being able to understand what you're reading. Maybe you can figure out, maybe you have been hooked on phonics. You can sound out the words, but if you don't know what the words mean, if you can read it in a dictionary, but you can't figure out which definition to use, which one fits in here, plug and play, like Mad Libs. Okay, my therapist wanted me to be capable of being harmed so that I could maybe be healed or be open to attack. Do you think they wanted you to be open to attack physically? No, that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. None. But you are leaving yourself open for attack. You're not soliciting or welcoming. You can't trust anyone not to hurt you. What are you protecting? Yep. To exist, exactly. To exist is to be vulnerable. There's always a predator alert. The idea is to be alert. If someone comes to hurt you, let them. Jesus like 10 different times. Be vulnerable. Turn the other cheek. Forgive 70 times 7. After the first time, I just deleted the George Bush clip. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me 70 times 7, and I can't be fooled again. With all thy getting, get understanding. Yeah, it's levels. Levels to this. Man, it's levels to this, man.
In Genesis chapter 2, verse 15, it says, Adam was placed in the garden.
And this is what I really don't like about pseudo-biblical people. They don't even know how to use the Bible. So this is where you get real stupid. So this is his own example. Genesis 2:15. Adam was placed in the garden to work it and keep it. Why would you need to keep it? Oh, it must be vulnerable. It must be susceptible to something. Or you wouldn't need to work it and keep it. Why does it need to be tended to? Because it's vulnerable.
To work it and keep it. The Hebrew word shamar for keep means to guard or protect. In other words, Adam's dominion.
So Adam was supposed to guard or protect. So you trying to tell me that God gave him a job to guard and protect something because it was vulnerable, but God didn't understand vulnerability and maybe didn't have a vulnerability for the man Adam? Even in your own example. He likes the Hebrew. He likes the Hebrew. He's got the cave of Adullam or something like that. He uses a lot of Hebrew words. He might be closely related to a Hebrew Israelite. I don't know exactly. But he doesn't call him Jesus, which is cool. I actually prefer people that don't call him Jesus. He'll call him Yehoshua. I prefer you making an attempt at whatever his Aramaic name is and then calling him Jesus anyway. That's, again, my personal preference. Because I knew so many Christians that didn't know that Jesus wasn't his name.
Included responsibility and vigilance. His failure to
Why would you need to be vigilant if there were no vulnerabilities? God understood vulnerability. God baked vulnerability into the system. Whatever God is, whether it's his version of God, y'all's version of God, my version of God, the non-God God, there's vulnerabilities to be had.
Address the serpent's deception wasn't a lack of authority, but a lapse in responsibility. And here's the deeper point.
So he just said being susceptible was a lack of responsibility. So he was vulnerable. So the man Adam was vulnerable, right? But a minute ago, he said God didn't put any vulnerability in him. Then how did you fall? How did you fall with the wife if you had no vulnerability?
First man's assignment included guarding. Then any command that invites a man to lower that guard must be weighed with great discernment and insight. The design must interpret the language, not the other way around. So how can man be both protector and seek to be susceptible to danger?
Here we go. Now listen, you listen to him, he's super calm, super reasonable. It's the facade of it is presentable. It's what people are looking for. I know the new dude, they're calling the godson, like Kevin Young, not Kevin Young, that's Yella. Kevin Samuels, who was the Godfather. This new dude, Jeff St. James, they're calling the godson. He's got a very peaceful demeanor. Like he's like the woman whisperer. Like when he gets up on the panels and stuff and he starts talking to the women, he doesn't like say inflammatory things to get them like yelling. He like gets them with the head nod, you know, that he'll say stuff very peaceful, like da-da-da, get them a head nod in their head. It's very tranquil. It's very soothsayer. And he be right a lot of times because he's actually coming from an educated background talking about psychology and principles like that, things that he studied. So it's different. This guy over here, on the other hand, might have taken too many shots in the cave of Abdullah. Too many karate kicks to the head. This is the basic definition of protector. You don't use your strength to defend yourself. You use it to defend others. That's in the Bible too. Speak to us. Smooth things. So listen, I admit, he sounds deep. He sounds protective. If you just pay no mind to what he's actually saying. He sounds like he's on men's side. It sounds like it's empowering men if you listen to how he's talking. But when you listen to what he's saying, it's going to cripple men by redefining words to protect their feelings. The word vulnerable used in a therapeutic setting triggered a man, an adult male. That just, oh man. So he says he's building warriors, but what he's doing is like validating their fragility. Yella, you had it right the first time. God, what up? What up? Good to see you. Good to see you. So man, this dude lacks comprehension. He says a man got angry. I'm gonna go back a little bit. A man got angry when his therapist told him to be vulnerable. He validates that anger, saying that the therapist used language that conflicts with his spirit, which, okay, I would say it conflicts with the gendered expectations of men. That's the machismo. Like, no, you can't be vulnerable. That's that fake tough. There's a lot of fake toughs out here. Most of us ain't that dude. Most of us are vulnerable. Like most men today carry the feeling of being vulnerable. They lack the confidence of feeling competent to handle any vulnerabilities they may have from life or circumstances. Most men. I can say that confidently about Americans. It's demonstrable. You can tell by the way they carry themselves. You can tell by the way they talk. You can tell by the way what they care about. You're some single dude in Iowa, but you're worried about some girl in Tennessee having an abortion. That's kind of weird. It's not in your purview. It's kind of a strange thing to stretch your mind that far. I'm going to think there's something off about you. And I think that's fair. Better not sleep with your wife ever. She could kill you in your sleep. Yeah. Stay awake 24/7 or you're a bitch. Exactly. It's crazy. I've never, this, I promise you, yesterday, I can't believe he said this. I couldn't believe he was talking about this. So now a responsible leader, when somebody comes to you and says, man, listen, therapist told me I should be more vulnerable. I told her, I ain't no bitch. Mom ain't raised no hope. Why does a simple word make you as an adult so angry? What are you running from? What are you hiding from? But Wilson doesn't do that. He steps in like a bodyguard for this man's trauma and tells him, you're right to be angry. The word is an attack on your ferocious animal spirit. Yah made you a protector. That's not protection, man. This dude is sabotaging this guy emotionally. He had a chance to actually step in and guide him back towards therapeutics that might help, or to send him to a better form, because maybe the talk therapy isn't for him. Maybe he needs something different. But in no case do you tell somebody that vulnerability is something that you can't possess. You can't tell people that, because that's unpractical. Everybody's vulnerable. You walk out the door, you're vulnerable to the elements. Like Greg said, you're sleeping next to your wife, you're vulnerable. She can stab you in your sleep. You sleep, if you're a heavy sleeper, you're vulnerable, because if somebody came in, you may not even hear it. Like, it's vulnerabilities are everywhere. You can't help vulnerabilities for the most part. A lot of you're going to have some vulnerability. There was a fictitious character who was invulnerable, except for one thing, kryptonite. Even he died, and it wasn't from kryptonite. Because no matter how strong you are, there's going to come something that's stronger than you. So even in the imaginations of people, when they made something that wasn't vulnerable, he found a new vulnerability. There's a lot of money to be made telling people what they already believe. Yes. And if I say, I ain't no bitch because you asked me to be vulnerable, well, guess what? I'm going to tell you, you shouldn't be vulnerable. You got a warrior spirit. You shouldn't need to be vulnerable. That's sabotage. And I think that's the dangerous part of the video, because he's actively telling men to distrust mental health professionals. That's terrible to me. That's sabotage, professional sabotage. He's a coach. He's kind of in the same lane. He's, in a weird way, he's in the same lane of mental health. And he's taking them the wrong way. He's poisoning the well against professionals. He's teaching people that the doctor uses a word that hurts your little feelings. Tommy, you don't like the word. The doctor's the enemy. That's not a warrior mindset. That's a toddler. That's what we've been complaining 5 years about with women. I can't use the word. I use the word submit. You lose your mind. That's what we've been talking about. Dudes started calling women toddlers because of that very same thing. A word triggers you. Ah! Now dudes are getting triggered. Vulnerable? You're a grown man and you got to run out the therapist and call your homeboy because they said vulnerable? Is that where we are in 2025 as men? I promise you, I couldn't believe it. The man's reaction, anger, that's some sort of trauma response. Can't speak to the type or the level of trauma. I can't. I'm not his therapist. Wouldn't want to be. But instead of helping the man understand why he's so triggered by a word, he tells him that the trigger is right. That's going to isolate men. If a doctor can't tell you to be vulnerable, if a professional can't tell you to be vulnerable, and he's basically saying that that word is evil, because now he's brought God into it. God didn't make you to be vulnerable. Not only has it, now he's leaning anti-science, and he's going anti-religion. This word, he's made it wrong on both science and religion. He's claimed perfect authority. He has superseded science with the doctor, social sciences, and he superseded religion. Where do you do that at? This man knows more than all sciences and all of religions that vulnerability is a bad thing. Even though God obviously thought different. That's crazy to me. That's where you get into, what was it? Is it blasphemy or heretic? I'm not sure which one. But it's anti-biblical. He's gone against what the Bible shows me and says to me in the first few chapters. Nothing but vulnerabilities. God put that Negro to sleep and stole a rib. That's a vulnerability. That's a literal wound getting opened up. Dude had a wound. The woman was made from the wound. She's the wound man. Woman, wound man. She's the wound man. Then he says vulnerability literally means susceptible to danger, death. God didn't design men to be susceptible to danger. He says vulnerability only means susceptible to danger. He ignores the definition that means emotional openness. Excuse me. He is dodging definitions. And in the real world, you can't redefine reality just to make yourself feel tough, to feel like a man. That's called a delusion. We've been complaining about women doing this for 5 years. Word magic. We can't allow it. And men, we can't. Everybody can't do the same thing. We can't all be on this type of time. If you are open or looking for love, you have to be open to the pain and heartbreak that can come from it, the disappointment. And it's not all intentional. That's vulnerability. Renaming it doesn't make you any safer. It just makes you delulu. I don't understand how somebody as learned, as experienced as this guy could confuse physical vulnerability, dropping your shield in battle, with relational vulnerability, like dropping your mask with your wife. He treats them as the same thing to scare these men. And that's not cool. Then he goes into Adam. And this is what really got me. Because I hate when people use the Bible wrong. Instead of Adam, he went Adam. But he says, don't be vulnerable. Be transparent. Let them see you. Now, you got to think about that for 2 seconds, which obviously he didn't. If I am transparent, if you can see through me, again, he said, be transparent, not vulnerable. If you can see through me, you can see exactly where my heart is. You can see where all of my most important organs are. If you can see through me, if I literally am transparent, you can see the most tender or the most essential places. That's what transparency, if you can see through. If you make that more of a metaphor, you can say like, okay, well, I can see your vulnerable feelings. I can see your memories that cause you hurt or that bring you the most joy. I can see everything that's most important to you, all the important bits, every important part. That if you're transparent, which is what he said, you can see my fear, you can see my shame. That makes you inherently susceptible to danger. If anybody else can see all of your important parts, that's a vulnerability. Because if they want access to it, they know exactly where it is. They don't have to look for it. They know where it is. Same thing like your house. If your walls were transparent, if somebody breaks in now, they've got to find everything. They've got to look around. They might have to open drawers. But if you're transparent and they know where all the important things are, it'll be a smash and grab. 3 minutes and they out. Because they ain't got to look for nothing. So that's why, like, this is it's poor comprehension. So he talks about being a comprehensive man, but he needs to be a comprehension man. Because he's not. He has no reading comprehension. He couldn't understand the dictionary. He couldn't understand the Bible. And he's selling a fantasy where you can have deep connection without the risk of vulnerability. And that's not how human beings work. That's a video game character. He wants people, he's teaching men to be a simulation, a facade of a man. Go back to Adam. Excuse me. Let me see. I already talked about God wounding him because he took a rib from a companion. To have a companion or wife required Adam to be wounded and give up a piece of himself. A piece of himself, a rib, that is literally protecting your most vital organs outside of your brain. Your most vital organs are protected by your rib. And that's what God took. So God increased Adam's vulnerability to solve a different vulnerability. Like, that's the trade-off. So this incomprehensible man can't comprehend the dictionary or the Bible. All right, let's go.
It's a contradiction, my brothers, of Yah's spiritual design for us. One of the greatest tragedies of our generation is how words have become emptied of their meaning. Language has become emotional instead of accurate.
Did he say that words are losing their meaning? The man that just erased the words' meaning? They're emotional? Yeah. You just supported a dude who said, I ran from the therapist because she said vulnerable. And you said, that's right, brother. Yeah, that was emotional. What are you talking about? Oh, man, come on.
And when words lose their meaning, men lose their clarity. And this isn't a matter of semantics. When you change a man's language, you change his categories. And when you change his categories, you change his behavior.
You heard the man. He said it's not semantics. It's an important word. Because when I bring up my comment that he responded to, semantics was involved. He said this is not semantics.
Words are architecture. They build or they break. In other words, the mind organizes everything. What is safe versus what is unsafe? What is strong? What is weak? What is masculine versus what is feminine? And what is assertive versus what is passivity? These categories shape how a man thinks, reacts, and ultimately how he lives. So if the categories are wrong, the decisions that come from them will also be wrong. It's
All right.
written.
Man. So I wanted to let him cook for a quick second. Yeah, he did. He wants it to mean one thing. But it's the other thing.
Written in Proverbs chapter
here we go.
18,
Here
verse
we go.
21, that life and death are in the power of the tongue.
Now, this is meat to me, where the response, if you understand this, if you are a comprehensive man, for real, you have comprehension. And what this Bible verse would put on you would be the conviction of accuracy. If my speech can cause life or death, if my speech is a life or death matter, it's the most important thing to monitor and to manage. That's what this verse alone would tell me. Life and death are within my speech. If I say something, I could cause life and goodness or death and harm. That's what I would get from this, which means I need to really work on my speech, right? Speech. That's one of the Buddhist practices. The Bible talks about monitoring your speech. It's all over the place. Everybody wants you to mind your manners, even your mama. So he is seeming to know this. Why would you then put this video out?
So when we confuse words like vulnerability with strength, we're not just miscommunicating, we're misdirecting men.
Nope. You're misdirecting men, sir, because nobody has confused vulnerability with strength. You yourself just said, even in your misapplication of the word, that vulnerability, meant seeking attack. Nobody thinks seeking attack is strength. Nobody thinks being vulnerable is a strength. What it is, what people are saying, which he doesn't understand, is that it is a strength to have the courage to allow yourself to be vulnerable in safe situations. That's the virtue, not the vulnerability. That's not a virtue. That's an incident. That's a state. You're in a vulnerable state. That's not really something that could be virtuous. But having that vulnerability and exposing it can be virtuous in the right context. But it could also be a vice. It could also be you're stupid. Like somebody like boxing. People that keep sticking their chin out, taunting. That's not virtuous. You're exposing a vulnerability for a bad reason. That's not virtuous. That's not courageous. What he means is vulnerable with the normative good. To be vulnerable is to be weak. It is good or bad depending on the context. So yeah, nobody's saying vulnerability itself is strength. He didn't even say that. The therapist didn't even say that. The man that said the therapist said that didn't even say that. Nobody said that. He just threw that in, that vulnerability is strength. It takes strength to be vulnerable, is what people will say. It takes strength to be vulnerable. Nobody says you're strong because you're vulnerable, because that's antithetical. Vulnerability means a wound or a weakness. That's not strength. It's like none of that. What he said makes sense, and I don't know why he threw it in there, except unless he was trying to be deceptive. He's trying to put some stank on it.
We're speaking life where death belongs, and death where life belongs.
Okay, now listen to that. That's important. We're speaking life where death belongs, and death where life belongs. Well, I don't know where it is in my notes, but I'm going to bring up the Bible verse. Woe to those that call good evil and evil good. When people start inverting principles, biblically, that could also be like a sign of spiritual stuff. Because God does that and Satan does that. There's typically like spiritual warfare. There's an inversion. God uplifts the high. You know, if you humble yourself, he'll exalt you. That's that biblical inversion. But Satan knows that Satan will take what's good and pervert it. Like there's the order of operations is like reversal. Both of them use reversals. They like the Uno reverse card. Shout out to Mr. He said Uno reverse card. God and Satan, because Satan tries to mirror God. Satan biblically wants to be God, wants to usurp God. So he uses the same methods to try to dethrone God. I can do what you can do what you can do. I can do anything you can do better. That's Satan. So he does inversions too. So when you have to be careful when people use that kind of language, because again, spiritual people. Yeah, but he thinks strength is the ultimate good. That's a real slippery stuff. It is.
Human mind is shaped by categories. And when those categories are distorted, the behavior that flows from them are as well. Again, let's take the idea that vulnerability equals strength. A man's psychological and biological.
Real quick pause. So when he said when you change a man's categories, you change his behavior. If the category is wrong, the life is wrong. I actually agree with that. With that sentiment. But this is also still one of the most dangerous things this is one of the things that point to him being dangerous. Because he knows that if you reshape, as a man thinketh, so is he. So if you reshape the words, you can reshape the thought. If you can reshape the thought, you can reshape the feelings and the behavior. He is trying to reshape men. What way would be turning vulnerability into a bad thing? What would that serve? What would that serve for a boy, a man, or a woman that's dealing with men? I can't find the usage. I can't find the utility. I can't find where that's helpful, especially in the practice that he does. Running the dojo with young boys where he's helped them through vulnerable moments and to regulate their emotions healthfully, to acknowledge their emotions. What's causing you, what are you feeling? Then he's taught them psychological principles, which is to attack the thought that's causing the negative feeling. Well, did you fail? No, you're learning. You're a student. You're supposed to fail and grow from the lessons you learn from the failure. We can't improve anything that you didn't fail upon. So he's taught those lessons day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, only to land here. Complete reversal from what he's done his entire profession, his entire visible life. In the last year, to now flip and say vulnerability is bad. Yeah, people are calling life death and death life, and I think you're one of them. You're telling people that you're trying to rewire their brain by changing these definitions. That's cult leader logic. If you're speaking a language that only he speaks in the cave of Adullam, that means you can only trust him, because you'll go to the therapist and they won't understand you. You go to your family, they won't understand you, because when you use vulnerability, all of them are saying something different. You'll think that everybody around you is asking you to go be hurt. No, Bobby, I need you to be vulnerable. I need you to share with me. Why do you want me to be hurt? They won't be able to relate to people if they accept the definition that he's putting out. That's dangerous. You won't be able to trust your therapist. You won't be able to trust your wife. You can't trust your friends, because we'll be using the words wrong, because he's giving you a new context. He's not freeing men. He's building a linguistic prison and calling it their safe space. And of course, it's in Patreon. That's gonna come up too.
Logical design has for thousands of years associated vulnerability with threat, with exposure to danger.
Real quick, man, because he has changed the words. The worst part is because men are too fragile. Now that's sad, that we're so fragile that we have to start changing words so that we're not hurt. It's so sad that we got. I hate that we've gotten to that spot. There's a lot wrong with me. You can call me vulnerable. You can call me weak. You can call me broke. You can call me a lot of things. But my God on today, that he is creating a safe space where people don't have to use words that are in the dictionary. He is massaging fragile egos, but preaching comprehensive manhood. You shouldn't have to change your dictionary to feel safe sharing your feelings. And like I said, over the last 5 years, man, we have been on women's necks about redefining, reframing, changing words, changing the context and the meaning and stuff. And now, man, we're doing it, man. It's like, now I hate to use the borrow from the women, but who's going to be the boys? Who's going to be the boys if everybody's reshaping words because everything makes us uncomfortable? What words would stand? What words are going to be okay? I don't need no man. That makes me feel bad. Be vulnerable. That makes me feel bad. I just don't. I don't know what we're going to do. If everything makes you feel bad, man, at some point you become useless. He needs to sit and have a think about his beliefs, his strength, his awesome. Yeah, it's sad. Uno reverse card.
So when he's told that vulnerability is a virtue, yet his nervous system interprets it as risk, you create internal chaos, emotional conflict, rational instability, and confusion about the path Yah intended him to walk. When you call transparency vulnerability, you're not simply using the word wrong, you're distorting the very framework that guides a man's behavior, his identity, and his sense of purpose. And when the framework collapses, the person following it also collapses with it.
Man.
So when men are told,
and he's right, which is why what he's doing is so dangerous, because he's building a framework that doesn't exist outside of his cave of Adullam, whatever it's called, cave of Abdamis, where vulnerability is a strength and men should seek it. Nobody's saying that. People are saying that you're going to have to choose, like choose to suck. You're going to have to choose to be vulnerable to someone. And they're going to try to give you the tools to learn who the safe people are, how to discern, how to build safety in people that are incidentally unsafe, people who don't have malicious intent, but maybe just don't have the skill to allow space for your emotions. Sometimes you can, hey, when you say that, it really hurts me. It makes me think blah, blah, blah. There are people that, oh, shoot, I didn't know that. I didn't know you felt that way. I didn't know it made you feel that way. I can definitely change. You can learn, but it takes you to be vulnerable to say that something hurts you. to see if people will adjust to accommodate your feelings.
Be vulnerable. What they hear subconsciously is lower your defenses and become susceptible to harm. And the spirit of a protector will always resist that.
And that's a problem. Because now you're protecting everybody else from your true feelings. And you're protecting yourself from having hurt feelings. So your protection has now been perverted. You're not creating safety with your protection. You're creating secrecy with your protection.
Now, please don't swerve on what I'm saying. There is nothing wrong with being emotionally open. I've written 3 books about.
There's nothing wrong with being emotionally open. So what? So then, what did he mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? What did you mean by vulnerability is bad? So he's trying to separate these 2 definitions. Oh, my bad. Why didn't y'all tell me? I didn't even notice this. He's been there the whole time. My bad. I didn't know the definition was up there the whole time. My bad. Oh, man, that's bad. Somebody could have told me the definition was up there the whole time. Because I'm looking at the screen. I'm looking at the actual video. So my bad. Let me know, y'all. If I got an overlay on and the video's playing, maybe y'all wasn't looking either. Y'all might have been multitasking. Let me not assume. Let me be vulnerable and not assume what other people are doing, thinking, or feeling. Okay? So yeah, my bad. My bad. That was on me. That was on me. I don't need to shift blame onto the audience for what I neglected to do. Let me be vulnerable, admit my frailty. I made a mistake as a man. I made a mistake as a man. And then try to shift the blame to avoid vulnerability. But I caught myself because I'm not a dumbass like this guy. Man is dressed like God in a bad 90s movie. I was cool with the definition. Okay, cool. Yeah, my bad, y'all.
About it so far. There is nothing wrong with crying or confessing or expressing the pain you've carried for years. But that's
I thought everybody thought I lived. Yeah, my bad. Yeah, I want to lead a video up. The definition, if it works for y'all, it's cool. But I at least want to own it that it was my mistake. It wasn't y'all's job to tell me what was supposed to be up on the screen. I'm the person that set this up. I'm supposed to be the one to know what's supposed to be up. How would y'all know what's supposed to be up? Because y'all wasn't with me shooting in the gym. You know what I'm saying? But that is vulnerability. We'll be able to think about the way you feel. The word triggered me. I ain't no bitch. I left overlay up too long. I ain't no bitch. You know what? I'm not a bitch. I can just say I made a mistake. And being vulnerable, they can make fun of me for it, which I deserve to be laughed at. But they can be like, I thought you left it there for context. And I'd be offended because y'all know my heart. Y'all know I'm not trying to, beat y'all with a definition. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it should be. That's what it should look like in practice. But you've got nutmeg over here.
Not vulnerability. That's transparency. Actually, I call it courageous transparency.
And now he's adding a new definition. So he's got transparency. Now I'm going to make sure I don't keep this one up. Transparent. Having the property of transmitting light without appreciable scattering so that the bodies lying behind is clearly seen. Fine or sure enough to be seen through. Now, which definition do you think he means? Because there's 2 definitions again. And the last one, he definitely chose the one that was violent. So which one? Does he mean see-through or does he mean free from pretense or deceit? Because if you don't have any pretense, if you don't have any deceit, if you're completely honest, if you're completely readily understood, that's a very vulnerable position. Very vulnerable. To be completely understood. I'm kind of a bitch.
A man who opens up his heart after betrayal isn't being vulnerable. He's being strong.
No! Okay. Wait a minute. I didn't even hear that on the first pass. Because a minute ago, he said we should not confuse vulnerability with strength. Hold on. Let me go back to make sure I heard what I just heard.
That's transparency. Actually, I call it courageous transparency. A man who opens up his heart after betrayal isn't being vulnerable. He's being strong.
Oh, Greg was right. His highest virtue is strength. Warrior mind says strength. I mean, that tracks. Yeah, he's just wrong. So he just said vulnerability is not strength, which I don't think it is. But then he says somebody who got cheated on or did wrong and goes back for another taste, that's not vulnerable. That's the most vulnerable because you know what it feels like. You know what the hurt is. That's more vulnerable than being naive. Naive is a type of vulnerability, but going for a second taste, going for a second helping, getting disappointment leftovers. That's another kind. The 70 times 7 was in the Bible for a reason. The turn the other cheek was in the Bible for a reason. The first time, fool me once, shame on you. But I jumped back in and I can't be fooled again. Like, that's crazy that he's like, that's not vulnerable. That's even more vulnerable because you're hurt already. You're already wounded from the first betrayal. Now your wound is going to shift because now maybe you're going to guard that wound, which is going to open up another blind spot. That's not necessarily strength either. That could be stupidity. But you have to know the context. Are you going back in for the right reasons? Maybe you weren't supposed to be going in there. Maybe you jumped into the lion enclosure and you got wounded. Going back would be stupid. There's no valor in jumping into a lion den twice. Jumping into the bear enclosure at the zoo. I did it twice. I'm strong. I'm a man. I'm 40. That's stupid. That's stupid. But we're gonna hear a bit more stupid.
Man who seeks help for his trauma isn't weak. He's actually wise. A man who admits he's broken isn't exposed. He's started healing. The culture has mislabeled transparency as vulnerability. And that's why so many men recoil when they hear the word. It doesn't resonate with who they are designed to be. If you study psychology, you'll understand why many men have evolved to associate vulnerability with death. In ancestral environments, the male who dropped his guard often didn't live to see another day. Vulnerability in the literal sense meant exposure to predators or enemies.
Here's the problem. He's bastardizing history. It doesn't matter if you drop your guard. You could be completely guarded. If somebody who is just more skilled or completely outmatches you, doesn't matter if you're guarded. They can punch through your guard. They can stab through your guard. It doesn't matter. Guards have been overwhelmed throughout history. You could have a legion. They can be flanked. They can be ran through. They can be ran over. Somebody bigger and badder has always come along. Has always come along. And if you think everybody that's ever been defeated is because they dropped their guard, no. Some people had a perfect defense. Thought it was impregnable. Even the Bible. The one people, the Hebrews, the Israelites, man, they had went to Jericho. The walls were impregnable. We laugh in the face of danger. Ha! Ha ha ha. And God gave them the instruction to be out there and throw a party for 7 days. And on the 7th day, the walls will fall down. The walls just fell magically. God did it. Miracle. Yashan. I did this. I'm the captain now. So it doesn't matter what your defenses are, because either some other human or some spiritual force can defeat any defense. So it's not even factual what he's saying.
And the nervous system remembers what the culture forgets. Your biology carries ancient warnings, even when your vocabulary has been modernized.
Man,
So when modern psychology
that's crazy.
tells a man, be vulnerable, but his nervous system still interprets that as danger, you're setting up an internal conflict between his design and his development.
Understanding your design is part of your development. So basically, what he just said is anytime like you see a squirrel and it jumps, like they're really jumping. The squirrel has ancient DNA memories of when it was a warrior. His great grand great grand great grand 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 great 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 ancestor that used to be a warrior, and it flinched in battle with the Aztec squirrels. He still remembers that. So when the squirrel flinches in your yard, it's got that genetic memory of dropping his guard, because now that's genetic from warriors, and that's stupid. What it is a fear response. Insects have it, animals have it, humans have it, because we want to live. Our bodies want to live. Even when we're not even thinking about it, our bodies reflexively try to live. Your body will try to fight off things that it thinks are attacking it, even if it's the body itself. Our bodies are interesting like that. That's not magic. That's not ancestral memory. Yeah, that was epigenetic nonsense. that was bad. That was bad. Because if it was just humans that did that, if it was just humans that had fear responses, it'd be one thing. But he just wrong. That was crazy.
That's why I tell men, don't be vulnerable, be transparent. Vulnerability says you can wound me. Transparency says you can see through me while I show you who I really am. Even Yahushua wasn't vulnerable on the cross. He was obedient. He chose sacrifice, not susceptibility. For it is written that
he just said Jesus. He just invoked Jesus. Said he was not vulnerable on the cross. I don't know if there's a more vulnerable position than the cross. You are nailed to the cross. You have no way to defend yourself. There's nothing more vulnerable than being killed slow in front of people, mostly naked. What are you talking about? Exposed to the elements. What's more vulnerable than that, especially when you made vulnerability physical safety? Jesus was the most vulnerable.
He said that no one takes my life from me, but I lay it down of myself.
Yes, nobody took his vulnerability. They ain't take his cookies. He gave his cookies up for the kingdom.
There's a difference between laying your life down willingly and having it taken from you because you dropped your guard.
He doesn't understand that both of them are vulnerability. Whether you choose vulnerability of your own volition or if somebody makes you vulnerable. Whether you choose to leave your front door open or whether somebody kicks it in. Both are vulnerability.
Brothers, we must reclaim comprehensive manhood. We don't need to be vulnerable. We need to be transparent. We don't need to be fragile. We need to be faithful. We need to be stable. A man who cries but still stands firm is not vulnerable. He's victorious. A man who admits his fear but still moves forward is not weak. He's courageous. So when we correct the language, we correct the confusion. So now, when you hear someone tell you, be vulnerable, don't reject the heart behind it. Just reframe the language.
So when somebody tells you to be vulnerable, Don't reject the heart behind it. They have good intentions. Just reframe the language. Say, I'm not vulnerable. I'm walking in my epigenetic warrior purpose. All right?
What they meant to say is be authentic, be emotionally open.
No, I promise you the therapist meant vulnerable. This guy is reframing the dictionary, a licensed professional, the Bible. Like, what is the level of ego that you have to carry to feel like I know what you mean when you say a word and I wasn't even in the room? Somebody else told me that you said this thing, but I know so much that I know that the therapist didn't mean this word that they went to school to learn about. They couldn't have meant the thing that they got $150,000 in debt for. They couldn't have meant that. What they must mean is this other word, because I don't like that word because it makes me feel itchy.
Be transparent. That's what fosters healing and connection. But understand, being vulnerable, susceptible to danger, is the opposite of what leads to healing. Because transparency is what builds trust, but vulnerability invites an attack.
Vulnerability invites an attack. Let me pause for a minute. He talked about your biology remembering that dropping your guard meant death. That modern psychology fights your ancient biology. Excuse me. He talks about your nervous system reacting to the word vulnerable as a threat. And he's right in some regards. Like, the trauma response is a real thing. Fight or flight, that's a real thing. PTSD, those are real things. But instead of helping anybody heal the actual things that they may be going through, he's telling people that it's God's design. So now he's putting that old Egyptian God king stuff on it. Like, God ordained this, manifest destiny. Like, God said we got to do. Like, when you put God on it, it carries so much weight. And I wish people could stop doing that. Don't put God on everything. I've been watching a couple of videos talking about there's people that got married recently and God said this is my wife, but it's like be his like third proposal. He cheated on his first wife. Like, how many times is quit putting God on everything? Don't put God on everything, please. It ain't required. But instead of people helping people heal, he's taking their brokenness, their hypervigilance, their anxiety, their inability to relax, and he's putting a crown on it and calling him Cain. He's telling them that the trauma response is actually their warrior spirit. And I promise you, like, this is the snake oil. I've heard it in more verbose people, more braggadocious people. I don't know that I've heard it from somebody that speaks so softly. He's patting people on the back, men that are having a panic attack, and telling them that panic attack makes them strong. And it doesn't. It just wears you out. And if you are a man that is with a woman that you cannot be vulnerable with on some level, you were just desperate to have a person there. Because you cannot have cared about her, even in what the Bible says about caring about a wife, if you can't be vulnerable with her. That's flat out. If you didn't leave when she disrespected you, and you're now many years in and afraid to speak for yourself, that's a shame on you. If Mr. Big Protector Man couldn't put up boundaries with a woman that's probably less than half his size, that's shame on you. This entire conversation that this man is having is coddling male cowardice. The only thing you are protecting at this point would be your feelings. And for me, it's an embarrassment to be afraid. Like, all this is about the word vulnerability. We're talking about being afraid of a word. We're talking about practice. You cannot be respectable as a human if one word that's not even an insult, it's just another word in the dictionary, sends you into fight or flight and an ego defense. Like, if this right here is the model of black masculinity, that we're supposed to head towards? Masculinity, period. It ain't got to be about blackness. If this is masculinity, I don't want it. I'll be black mode before I'll be a black man if this is what I have to model. The word vulnerable makes you a bitch? Like, you really got bitched out by a word and had to run and go tell your mans. I don't understand that. I don't understand that level of manhood. I don't understand it. And I'm a down bad dude. I'm down bad. I'm a broke dusty. I'm one of them. Low value Negro. But you're never about to catch me calling Yella because I ain't no hoe. Because the doctor said I needed to show some effort. Effort? I ain't no bitch. What I look like? What kind of man? Who do you think I am? Who you think you're talking to?
Hey, look at that, man. Bunch of punk motherfuckers, man.
Hey, Zilla, you smell something, man?
Definitely smell something out
You
here.
smell something, Stab?
I smell it.
I smell pussies.
Yo, man, forget this.
Yeah, man. Doctor said I need effort. I ain't no pussy. Now get out of here, man. I hate this. I hate this so much, man. He is correct, though. The men do feel fear, but he's telling them to succumb to the fear. And that's sad. That's sad. And, man, call him a word. It's I don't even know. Yeah, I'm a man. I am a man. Where are they? Hold up.
I'm a man. Forward. I am a man. 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 Move forward. I am a man. There.
So tender.
There you are, child.
Man. God. It's ridiculous. Hey, Jesus had to come settle your account. Let me see. These religious acts always conflate you with Jesus. Then the whole point of Jesus is Jesus, and you are not. He had to come settle your account because humans were so shitty we couldn't settle it ourselves. Yeah, it's crazy word. Shags is lost. I'm sure you just got here, so yeah, it makes sense. Let me see. I'm a man. Move forward. And a hug. There you are, child. The there you are, child at the end. The there you are, child at the end. That's, oh my God. There you are, child. Oh Lord, if you got to tell people you're a man, yep. That clip is Garrett in the volleyball scene at top. And shout out to Shags, man. Appreciate you being here. Yeah, so what I'm doing, I'm catching up on this video. Triggered me. Because he was telling men not to be vulnerable. And he's expressing how. And he's going through it. So I'm just giving counterpoints. I'm almost done with chapter 1.
Therefore, when a man says, I can't afford to be vulnerable, what he's really saying is, I can't afford to be unguarded.
Now, that part, I will say is valid. That last part. Because sometimes some people vulnerable. Not to be vulnerable. Let me see. I am a man. Vulnerable. Now, men should not be vulnerable. Because he is saying the humans on the planet Earth are all using definition 1 when we say vulnerable. But he has determined that we all mean 2. And we're trying to tell men that they should be open to attack and death, which doesn't make any sense. That's his stance. Even though we'll all tell people we want you to be number 1, we all mean 2. And he knows this because he's him. Because he's him. He's that guy. But what did he just say? I did agree with that.
Invites an attack.
Now, that's the part I didn't agree. Vulnerability does not invite an attack. It just is vulnerable to an attack. Doesn't invite it. It's not an engraved invitation. It's just a state of being. There's a vulnerability. Nobody's inviting anybody. But the wrong type of person will see a vulnerability and want to exploit it. But that's the wrong type of person. They don't need an invitation. They just need an opportunity.
Therefore, when a man says, I can't afford to be vulnerable, what he's really saying is, I can't afford to be unguarded.
So if a man says he can't afford to be vulnerable, he's saying, I've been too hurt, and now I can't allow myself to trust again. I can't afford to drop my guard. That's fair. You need to heal. You might need to take some time. Take a walk. Walk it off. You've been hurt. You're burned. You're jaded. It happens. The best of us get got. Take time off. That's okay. No shame in that. That part I actually agree with. He slipped it in there. And I think it's fair for somebody to have been so hurt, or they're still reeling or grieving something that they lost, grieving a relationship that didn't go to, like grieving disappointment. There could be some grief that actually needs to be dealt with before they move on. That's actually fair. That's actually useful to me, but it's hidden between. It's like somebody gave you like 10 tons of manure, and somewhere in there was a cheeseburger. Like there was a cheeseburger, but I had to sift through a pound of manure.
And that's a valid truth. So, brothers, as you continue to escape emotional incarceration, remember this: your heart was never meant to be unguarded, for it is written in Proverbs.
Yeah, but he's talking about like mostly what he's talking about is like with your wife. So that's mostly what he's talking about. It's like with your spouse. Because I don't think anybody would say just walk around and be vulnerable. Like that right there is the thing that he's saying, which doesn't make any sense. Nobody is telling men to go be vulnerable everywhere they are. The same way nobody was telling women to go submit to every man on the planet. That doesn't make any sense. It's not logical. Nobody's telling women to submit to every man that they ever encounter in life in perpetuity. Nobody's saying. So like, why did he take that stance? Why would he take the stance of like when people tell a therapist has you in the office and they tell you need to be a little bit more vulnerable? Why would you think that they were telling them that they should want to be attacked to the point of death? No therapist would say that or have that intention. So to even take that stance is the weirdest thing to me from a man who works with boys and men. I can't understand.
Proverbs chapter 4, verse 23, above all else, guard your heart with all vigilance, for from it flows the springs of life.
So let me get caught up, man, with this dude. So he talked about Jesus. I mean, I know I'm backwards. I'm even though I'm listening to this again, I'm still flabbergasted. Jesus wasn't vulnerable. He was obedient. No one takes my life, I lay it down. Great. That was good. It was stupid in the context of what he's saying. This dumb dude said that Jesus wasn't vulnerable on the cross. The man that had nails in him, a crown of thorns on his head, bleeding from his head, his back was shredded like Jimi Hendrix had just got done playing it. And another dude dug a spear up in his side. If vulnerability means woundable, you cannot get more wounds than Jesus had. There are Bible verses that people quote about his wounds and the healing power. By his wounds, we are healed. By his stripes, we are healed. Of course, he was vulnerable on the cross. Dude cried that God had forsaken him on the cross. He told his homie to look after his mom. Dude was emotionally spent. He was physically broken. But Goofball McGraw over here want to say he wasn't vulnerable. If Jesus wasn't vulnerable, then this man, Jason Wilson, is King of America, and I put my stamp on that. That's how he got stabbed in the rib, because he wasn't vulnerable. Exactly. Then he doubles down because he doesn't understand words, because he's the incomprehensible man. He says, I lay my life down willingly. It isn't taken. Both are vulnerable, as I stated. You can make yourself vulnerable, or someone can make you vulnerable. Both are possible. You may be just fine, but if someone were to start attacking, you may become vulnerable. They can make you vulnerable. The thing is, outside of physical wounds, you don't know how and where you are woundable until you get wounded. It's like how you don't know you're allergic to a food until you get that itch in your throat. Someone else went through that, through what you went through, and shrugged it off. because everybody's not vulnerable in the same way to the same things. It wasn't a vulnerability to them, even though they may have been attacked. Someone else collapsed. I know I've seen people who are on the ground from a splinter because they're babies, highly susceptible and highly vulnerable. But everybody doesn't fall for the same thing. Everybody doesn't go down for the same thing. Everybody doesn't go down for the same count. I'm going away and you will look for me. Where I go, you cannot come. You will die in your sin. No one will ever take my life from me. I'm laying it down. Christian Hotep going to be the end of the black man. Listen, if this dude is a leader, it scares me. Because telling men that they cannot be vulnerable is so dangerous to me. He's playing a semantic trick. He's reframing and redefining words. If you tell men that Jesus was never vulnerable, you create a standard of perfection, not even in the spiritual sense, that no human can even meet in the physical sense. Because just by nature of being a human, you're vulnerable. Your skin, your everything, you're vulnerable. It teaches men that if they can be hurt, they are failing God. That's the insinuation. That's not okay. So now he's made bad psychology, bad theology. And you make the lie of invulnerability and you tie it to righteousness. That to me is satanic theology. I'm starting to think, and listen, I know I've said some things. A while back, I said that most Christians aren't worshiping the God that they think they're worshiping. And to me, it's obvious based on the scriptures. A lot of people would say that now based on like the politics. That like the person you're voting for, like how could you vote for this person because of the morals? And it's on both sides. Both people like, how could you vote for people that are for abortion if you love Jesus? And the other side, how could you vote for people that just want to kill all these people if you love Jesus? So people see the outcomes, the fruit. Matthew 7. People see people's fruit and they judge it and say, you can't be worshiping the God you say you do if this is how you've turned out. So you can see the same deceptions running through politics, relationships. People are easily fooled by appearances. The Satanic Church donates more money and resources to needy people than the Christian church. So, and I'm not saying they're from the Satanic Church. What I am saying is the biblical principle of being satanic is antithetical to Jesus. So when I say satanic, I'm not using the Satanic Church, which is an organized group of people. I'm not using that demographic. What I'm saying is they have the behavior of people who are antithetical to what the biblical Christ taught. So when I say he's satanic, I mean he's anti-Christian through what Christ modeled, through what Christ said. I'm not saying he's Luciferian. I'm not saying he draws the Baphomet. I'm not saying they have 5-pointed stars upside down. I'm not saying any of that. I'm not saying he says prayers of Satan. I'm saying that a lot of Christians believe they are serving Jesus Christ and Yahweh. They believe that. That's what they would say. But their actions are aligned against Christ. They go antithetical to Christ. Even if he was right about Jesus, he isn't. You are less than Jesus. Even if Jesus was not vulnerable, that does not mean you are not vulnerable. Yeah, you got it. So where was that? My bad. The Bible warned multiple times of people that are false prophets. People that's in Matthew 7 that say, Lord, Lord, but he doesn't even know him. People later in the New Testament, people that are doing works in Jesus' name, but the demons even recognize that we don't know you. You don't carry the authority of Jesus. What I think is that many Christians today have been deceived into worshiping Satan. Deceived into that. They think they're worshiping Jesus. I just don't think that they are. And how I'm using that, again, Satan means opposite to Jesus. Satanic is in the perversion of anything that Christ stands for. The opposite of that. That's satanic. This milk dud over here and those women who were shaming that little girl the other day, me and Yella were talking about, were operating in the exact opposite way that Jesus told people to. Especially with the little girl, where they was like, if you become a stumbling block to the young people in Christ, it's better to have a millstone hung in your neck and being thrown into the sea. You're operating opposite, like the least of these. Jesus implored people to look out for the least of those, the people who were defenseless. If you're moving opposite of that, I call it like a satanic principle. These dudes like him, are wolves in sheep's clothing. They have literal sheep's clothing. He's in white. He's all dressed in white. They appear to be doing things that you would expect of a Christian, but then they say things that are in exact opposition, diametrically opposed to the word of God. And they will abuse scripture. He's got one on the screen now to back up what they're saying, but use it out of context or not understand it, misapply it like he did with Adam. That's how Jesus himself was even tempted by Satan. Satan used scripture in a context that did not apply to that situation. So that's my theory. They aren't drawing pentagrams. They're not wearing goat heads. I'm just saying that if Christianity were Coca-Cola, you would hear them say caramel coloring and flavoring and sweet, and it's cold and refreshing. But when you took a sip, you know it to be Pepsi. That's the ops. And for many people, the difference isn't that major. But if you work for Coke, it kind of matters because Pepsi wants you out of business. G. That's what I'm talking about. And I think that's real. Kindness is the highest Christian virtue. Innocent. Demon talk. Jesus told us to lead a church, and since he said 1 billion churches have been built and people flock to church, that's real. That's real. Jesus was trying to tell people, like, hey, listen, you keep falling into these rigid rules and this structure, and it's not the heart of God. Yeah, they're going against what the Bible. He literally distorted the account of Jesus and Adam since we've been here in the 9-minute video. He's distorted both of those Bible stories to fit his narrative, perverting the stories of Adam, the first man, and Jesus, the second man. You know, one who was responsible for the fall and one who was reclaiming that and fixing that. He's perverted both of those stories, those pivotal stories, the anchoring stories of the Old Testament and the New Testament. He's perverted both of those stories into changing vulnerability in one video. How could you accidentally do that much misappropriation of text? Accidentally in 10 minutes. I don't know. So like I said, either this dude is dumb, either this dude is complete dumb, or he's a grifter and he's doing all this on purpose. Because it's hard for me to believe this is an accident. I started with the premise that he was an idiot. But as I kept researching, man, listen. He said, how are giving money to the church to become people's resource, and the church is not helping these people. Facts. You play that I'm a man and I'm at work. Man, we got fired. I'm a man, I'm a man, I'm a man. They're their child. They're their child.
So my brothers, guard your heart by not being vulnerable, but don't hoard it by not being transparent. Share it wisely with humans, but offer it to Yah, the Most High, fully, because he's the only one who can handle it without hurting it. As always, I hope this video encouraged you. If you would like to be notified,
I'm a man. I got you. I got you. Yella, where you at? Where you at? Come here. Come here. Come here, man.
I'm a man. I am 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 a man.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, this is some shameful shit.
Whew, it is, man.
What's wrong with you? What's wrong with y'all? You niggas are crazy.
Is. I'm glad they cut the camera before they started making out, man. Listen, the embrace, come on, man. Come on, man. See, that's what they be doing in the cave of Adullam. They don't want you to be vulnerable. They don't want you to be vulnerable with your wife. or your family, they want you to be vulnerable with these men in the cave. Hotep Devil and Jesus. Man, come on, man. It's crazy. I would have never thought this of Jason Wilson. I don't know what branch of theology he comes from, but the way he misinterprets everything that I've heard him say in this one video is strange to me.
When I upload another one, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications.
Here we go.
But if you're ready to go deeper, if
you're ready to go deeper, I can go deeper, baby.
You want to be trained by me and walk shoulder to shoulder with a community of brothers seeking to become comprehensive men, then join my Patreon brotherhood.
Oh, Patreon brotherhood, man. Put a pin in that, y'all. Put a pin in that for your memory, because I'm coming back to that. In chapter 5, I'm coming back to that with some funny stuff. I mentioned it before.
The link is below in the description. Until next time, my brothers, keep growing, keep building, and keep striving to be.
All right. Let's drop you for a minute. Woo. It's just not confirmed, so you choose not to speak in a way that can get you in trouble. Listen. Spook who sat by the Patreon, man. Listen. That video, man, blew my mind when I saw it. I just did not expect that of Jason Wilson. I would have counted myself as a fan. I would have counted, like, I like what he said. I like what he's like. I've seen him on like Breakfast Club interviews. I've seen him do other interviews. I like the way he's handled young men. When I've seen the clips of him helping the young men that he's teaches in karate. But then when I heard that, I'm like, something's off. A man that would not be able to properly comprehend the dictionary and the Bible, I can't trust that man. Maybe you can teach me as standing sidekick, but I can't trust you to help me pick a sidekick. Double agent. Can't be trusted. Can't be trusted. Like, with anything that matters, I could not be vulnerable with a man that misunderstood to this degree. Because he's either misunderstanding or he's misleading. He's either stupid or he's a gripper. I'm not sure if he told a kid that he was powerful because he was little. I don't know, but I know he helps little boys, and he'll coach them through their emotions, especially like when they get frustrated and stuff like that. That's what blew him up. Be strong enough to kung fu your trauma. You nerd. So the last part. Guard your heart. Don't be vulnerable. Be transparent. Got it. He goes into Proverbs. Same chapter, different verse. It's verse 7. Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom. And with all thy getting, get understanding. Shout out to Enya. She threw that in the chat earlier. The way he's saying it, it negates the great commandments. How are you going to love your brother if your heart is guarded the way he's saying? You protect it in the midst of building it and sharing. You have to. You don't just do one thing. Now he's being tricky. He's using tricky words. He says, don't hoard your heart. He says, being transparent is sharing your heart. And I got to say no to that. Telling people the straight facts is not love. It's just truthfulness or honesty, clarity, factuality. But that does not necessitate it being love. You may do that because you love somebody. You may offer them your honesty, your authenticity, your factuality because you love them and respect them. But now he's misleading people on what love looks like. Then he says, share it wisely. That's the only thing he should have ever said in this video. Be vulnerable wisely. Don't cast your pearls before swine. But you can't take this one moment of accuracy and forget the 9 minutes of deception. This man has spent this entire time telling people not to be vulnerable. This says to share your heart wisely. Be vulnerable. Don't be vulnerable, but be vulnerable wisely. Which one is he? He's violating his own rule. He claims to be transparent, show the truth. But he's hiding the fact that he's manipulating the language to make men feel better. That's the intention. You're possibly, and I'm being generous here. It's possible that he's being subversive because he knows men are down bad. And I'm going to explain that in a second. As I wrap up this chapter. It's insidious because he's telling men not to be vulnerable, when on his face, vulnerability is a requisite of life, requisite of living, while telling them to do things that approximate vulnerability. Be open, be transparent, share your heart wisely. So I'm open to him being subversive and trying to sneak vulnerability into men without the trigger word. For whatever reason, men are triggered by vulnerability. Men he knows. But that's like giving a kid medicine inside of something sweet. How are you going to call men comprehensive if you have to hide the comprehension? It's more likely to me that this man knows this is wrong and is teaching it to pander and grift. Then he genuinely can't. I don't think he's stupid. I don't think he genuinely can't understand the definition of vulnerable. I don't think that's it. He can't overlook one definition and just choose one willy-nilly. I don't think he's that guy. I think it's just more likely that he saw the dollar signs. I was originally going to call him the kindest idiot because he's a real kind guy. He speaks really kind and really softly, but I don't think I can give him that. After I did more research that we're going to get into, I had to pivot on that. I think this man is performing. Men are his audience, and because we're down bad right now, we can't afford to keep being misled. And I said earlier, being misled by somebody like Fresh and Fit, Andrew Tate, Yo, they're obviously problematic. And if you can't see that, nothing I'm going to say is going to reach you. But this man has appealed to reasonable people. I would have said he's a good example before I saw him talking about this stuff. So I'm going to get caught up on the chat, but we are getting ready to head into chapter 2. Blow my nose real quick. My bad, y'all. My bad. I'm a man. All right. So I was in the chat under this video, and I left a comment. As I'm often, I might be found in a comment section or two, here and there, hither and thither. Being transparent, but not vulnerable. That's what I do. So, let me catch up on the chat real quick. Okay, he told his kid was powerful. He was little and could do big things big people couldn't in a fight. Might be another Bob. It could be, but it could be. He might have been doing the whole, well, you're agile and quick instead of big and powerful. Yeah, calling people's feelings is not love at all. Not to make men feel better about being wrong. Absolutely. There's layers of stupidity. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. Yep. Just you and me, Rashawn. Now Rashawn starts some shit in the comments. Man, from here and there, I might from time to time. So I might not come in the most loving. I don't speak like he does, but I also don't I'm not the most insulting person, but you'll see. Here's my first one. I said transparency is a vulnerability, though. Hold up real quick. That's Chris. Okay, cool. Transparency is a vulnerability, though. This is doing too much with semantics to be useful. You have to be vulnerable to be in relationship. Intimate ones most especially. Sleeping next to a human with motivations that you can never know is a vulnerability in and of itself. I understand what you were going for, but it is nonsensical on its face. Because it is. It's nonsensical.
The reason why I like this also is because it challenges the public to recognize that just because somebody says it on the internet doesn't mean that it's true.
Absolutely, Candace. Appreciate you for being here. Woo. But after I said that, I didn't expect a response. I thought some regular people might be like, you're stupid, you're a lizard, what are you doing here? You're dumb, you're an agent, tether. I expected some insults or something from somebody. What I didn't expect was a response from Jason Wilson himself, or a handler for the channel. Could not have been him. But I got a response, and we'll read it here. Transparency. I said I automatically try to do people's voice, but I can't do his voice. It's deeper than mine. I just can't do it. Transparency is not vulnerability. It's honesty. Vulnerability means susceptibility to harm. And if you blur that distinction, you'll misuse both your emotions and your relationships. This isn't semantics, it's accuracy. And accuracy determines behavior. Intimacy requires trust, not vulnerability. Sleeping beside someone isn't vulnerability. It's a moral decision to trust their character. Vulnerability is what happens when you're exposed to danger, physically, psychologically, or spiritually. Young man, Scripture commands men to be truthful, accountable, and open. James 5:16. But it never commands them to make themselves susceptible to harm. That's why Proverbs 4:23 says, guard your heart, 3 stacks, guard your heart. Guard your heart, 3 stacks, guard your heart, not exposing. Your objection proves why clarity is necessary. Shalom, peace, and love, my brother. Thank you. All right. Yeah, Candace, I know. He tried to hit you with that pimp talk, didn't he? Nah, it was smooth, man. Smooth criminal. If someone hits you, turn the other cheek is not a command. Listen, I don't understand how you can read the Bible and not see it as vulnerable. I don't see how you could tell people to go into all the world and teach them of a God that is not their own. Teach them the gospel of Jesus. That's vulnerable in all languages. Go tell them you're away from home, you're on foreign soil, you might be countermanding and undermining their gods. That's pretty vulnerable. You're sending them and dispatching them out in small groups. One time when he was still alive, he sent them out in twos with nothing but the clothes on their back. That's vulnerable. Why can I only see my comments? Oh, because see, you don't even have the phone by yours. I'm not sure. Well, Greg is on the vertical. He's on the vertical feed. I think you're on the horizontal feed, so you might only see yours because he's on the vertical. So for some reason, StreamYard and YouTube are doing something weird. They're calling it MARS, multi-aspect ratio streaming. Multi-aspect ratio streaming. So there is one stream for the vertical, one stream for the horizontal, and they are not integrated. For whatever reason, they don't have the chat integrated. Oh, your phone is vertical? That's weird. Because they've got on the StreamYard is showing him with the phone orientation, the vertical phone orientation, but they've got you. Now, you may be holding your phone vertically, but the orientate, and see, you're on a computer. Okay, so they got StreamYard's doing something weird. Because if Greg's on a computer, it shouldn't have the phone symbol. And if you're in the vertical orientation, so I don't know. I'm gonna blame StreamYard because they're the one that split it up. They split it up within the last few weeks, and I don't know why. So people are divvied up into the two different chats. So blame StreamYard, but I do show the comments, so you should be able to see each other in that way, but you won't be able to see each other real time. Wait, can I do that one thing? Hold up, let me do that one thing. Show comments on stage. Boom. So at least you'll be able to see them there. Let me see, maybe I need to make it bigger. Bam. There we go. So even though you're not in the same chat room, at least you'll be able to see them on the screen maybe when they come into the different orientation. I'm not sure again why they split them up like that, but they did. They did because they love us. They love us so much. So that was his response. And to me, again, it was full of error. But I'll respond it one last time. Now, with respect. Hold on, I can't even. There's stuff on my screen that makes me not able to read this. So let me pull it up in Let me pull up the actual file because the counter's blocking it. All right. Open up. Open up, and let the funk flow in. All right, cool. I know you guys can see it, but I need, with respect, you don't understand the words we're using. Now, I know that's inflammatory to tell people that they don't understand the words that they're using. Transparency without vulnerability is invisibility. I thought that was a bar. Ain't nobody else got to appreciate that, but I love it. Transparency without vulnerability is invisibility because you can't see the important stuff. So then you're just seeing right through it, which makes it invisible. Transparency itself is a type of vulnerability, and so is trust. Trust is a vulnerability. I'm offering you the opportunity to share something important of mine. It might be a business. It might be my heart. I'm trusting you with the keys to my car. I'm trusting you with something valuable. That's a vulnerability. As you said, trust, vulnerability, as you said, is the ability to be wounded. If people can see what's happening because you are transparent, that makes you vulnerable. Like a house with transparent walls. Someone can then want what is inside, or use what they see go on in your house against you. You may be guarded. Doors may be barred and locked. But now people have access to knowledge because of your transparency. Trust makes you vulnerable because you open up to betrayal or disappointment. That's a wound, vulnerable. Sleeping beside someone is trusting their character, which is vulnerable. Opens you up to being wounded. Ask Lorena Bobbitt's husband. I'll leave it here. I can see you aren't open to correction, but maybe someone else will see the discrepancy. It is dangerous to tell men to be vulnerable. It would be wise to tell them in which ways they have to grow to be vulnerable as safely as possible. And I put they there because I actually put that in the real text. But allowing people access to the most sensitive parts of yourself is essential to emotional wellness. Not all access, but you have to be able to trust your wife with something. Gotta get ready for work, but stay petty, man. Appreciate you, man. We stay petty. If you stay petty, you ain't gotta get. If you stay petty, you ain't gotta get petty. Know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. I had to get a little response in, but it was important because I saw this here. Like this one hurt. This one hurt. What up, Bree? Boundaries. I saw this dude and it hurt my heart because it says the name is Lando Daddy Duties. So I'm going to assume that very few people who don't have children wouldn't put daddy duties in their identity, in their profile name. So I'm assuming this person is also going to be shaping the lives of some children because he's taking on the identity of daddy duties. Wow. I had to actually look up the word vulnerable. Okay. I've had to look up words. No shame there because maybe we don't use that word. It's not in your lexicon. Cool. For some reason, I believed it had something to do with being open to share sensitive information with someone's spouse in a relationship, not understanding that by doing so, I'm opening myself up for danger or attack later on. Now that, to me, from an adult, kind of blew my mind because I thought we all knew that if you share sensitive information with any person on this entire planet, they could use it. And if it's the wrong kind of information, they could use it against you in a court of law. Information is power. That's why they're trying to steal all our data. Data is useful. So that he did not know that. What do you think a setup is? I know some information about somebody. I know when they're going to be vulnerable or how they're going to be vulnerable. You can attack them this way, or we can attack them this way. I don't understand how people don't know some of these principles. That boggles my mind. And yet they have kids because that's just a biological function. There's no prerequisite. No wonder whenever she got mad at me, she weaponized my trauma and everything I shared with her in confidence under the guise of vulnerability. Shaking my head. I got it now. LOL. That's crazy. We are not meant to be vulnerable. See, he bought it. He heard it and he bought it. We are not meant to be vulnerable, but transparent and guarded. I received that. Dude just took it in. Pause. Pause, pause. Big pause. Dude just accepted it.
Damn, Morpheus. What you about to do? I love you, man. Nigga, you gay.
That's how I felt when I said that. Dude just took it in. Anyway, we are not meant to be vulnerable, but transparent and guarded. I received that. And I'm like, bro, no. I'm supposed to play this early. Let me see if this might be, I can't remember this, but this like a minute.
If the source, the internet source, tells you how you should feel about information, in that case, they are handing you their opinion on the expectation that it will become your opinion. Instead of finding sources that contain objective information, then you assimilating that, digesting it, and then forming your own opinion, independent of people coming at you with their opinions. It may be that the person says things that resonate with you. I never thought about it that way. I agree with that. That feels good. I don't have a problem with that. But what you're not in control of is what information they're basing their opinion on. And it could be that if you had access to other information, you'd arrive at a different opinion than they did. The internet overflows with people handing you their opinions. And I've never seen that as a healthy landscape on which to glean objective knowledge about this world. Here's how I look at opinions. Have whatever opinion you want, but work really hard to base it on objective truths that you obtain for yourself.
Facts. And that's why I felt bad when I saw this from this dude. That's why I had to send that response back to Jason. I'm like, nah, man, because there's people that accept it. They're just taking it on its face. They're seeing it and just, I got it now. We're never supposed to be vulnerable. That's crazy. Like, nah, man, no. You can read the dictionary. There are objective facts and reality that you could hinge your opinion on, but you got to seek it for yourself. Don't just take a dude on the internet's word for it. And I was cleaning up some old files, and I found this is from like 2023. I think masculine energy comes from a trauma response, being in fight or flight or freeze. The freeze leads to fight. And I was like, you know what? That sounds like what Jason was talking about. Dude heard vulnerability and went into fight or flight response. He fled. He flew out of therapy and called Jason Wilson to get regulated, which is his own kind of weirdness, but it is what it is. Man. Whew. He like Eddie Murphy and Holy Man was spreading bullshit instead of seeds. Man, it's crazy, man. This man is being absorbed in multiple manners. The level of stupid people he is attracting is immense. No pause. Man, listen. Shout out to Bree. I think I said what's up. My bad. Shout out to you. I know she working. Yella's on his way to work. Woo! All right, so that is the end of chapter 2. I just told you, man. Some of these chapters are short. Chapter 2 is short. Let me leave this up for a quick minute so I can catch it, so I can do the timestamps. Chapter 3. Leave this up so I can scroll and see it. Easy. Yeah, let me pull up the video while I'm leaving that up. All right, chapter 3. Well, let me close this out. Let me close out chapter 2. The danger of his video isn't that he's wrong about men needing to be strong. The danger is that he's teaching us that the fear of being seen is actually a warrior spirit. Misattribution. He is building men who are brittle, men who will fire a therapist for using the wrong word, men who will divorce their wives because they feel exposed. He's teaching you to guard your heart so tightly that nothing gets out and nothing gets in. That's not a comprehensive man. That's going to be a lonely man in a tiny little protected tower. And Jason lacks comprehension. Martial arts, maybe it's a CTE. Maybe he's old enough to be getting early signs of dementia. I don't have a clue. But something is happening with your boy. And it isn't something that should go unremarked. I'm about to pull up a couple videos. Let me see real quick. And this section will be short too. Bam. All right, let me move this over here. Bam. Let me share this. Bam. Bam. Yeah, we moving. All right, I'll take that down now. I'll definitely be able to see that. Ooh, chapter 3. This you? Is this you, Jason? Is this you? My boy. Now, this was, I want to say, just a couple years back. 1 year. 1 year ago. Let me refresh. That's what starts from the beginning.
Yeah, the facade thing I think is very important for people to hear and talk about because men do like to put up that facade that they're never vulnerable. There's never anything wrong. And everyone knows it's bullshit.
I try to be a healer for boys and men to help you work through what's hurting, to get you past this facade of just always being strong. You know, some of the greatest fighters in the world. No one can be strong all the time.
Right.
You know, we'll say to each other, stay strong, bro. We're subconsciously telling each other that when you feel weak, something's wrong with you.
You're not tricking anybody.
Yeah.
You know, you're posturing. And when you're posturing, it's really a weakness. There's more strength in just being who you are. And just because you have vulnerable moments or just because you're emotional or just because you're sad, doesn't mean you're weak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, who are we really?
Right. Who are you really? Yeah. A lot of people think that they are their accomplishments. Yeah.
So back then, a year ago, that you couldn't be tough all the time. You were the most accomplished fighters. Somehow now he's forgotten. CTE, old age, or is it a grift? Because he understood at the end of Joe Rogan. Let me pull up the next clip. Because we're watching a guy regress real time. He understood that even fighters are weak, and now he's teaching men to hide their vulnerability or to at least run from the word, which is even weirder for me. Oh, snap. Did I not put a timestamp? Okay, 14. Oh, snap. 14:20, I think it was. 14. Yep, 14:20.
Side did lesser range of emotions type of man?
Absolutely, definitely. I call that a masculine male.
You were a masculine male.
That's all I was. Everything was centered around being masculine, being strong, bold.
What's limited with only being a masculine male?
Well, I use my mother, caring for her as an example when she developed dementia. I couldn't fully meet that moment in her life by only being a protector and provider. Those two roles I had mastered. Whenever the pharmaceutical companies were trying to fleece her out of more money, I was able to protect her. When her Social Security check couldn't meet the difference that we owed the doctors and for the prescription, I was able to provide. But what happens when she asks me a question 10 times and I have to answer it the 11th time without her feeling any frustration? What happens when she's crying and she's confused and I have to meet that moment with compassion and love? What happens when her fingernails need filing or clipped and I have to meet that moment? Only being a protector and a provider was too limiting for me. I couldn't be all that she needed. And so when that time happened in her life, I chose to meet that moment instead of run from it. And often men say, I want to be a comprehensive man. What do I need to do? I tell them always to run to the moments where you fear feeling the emotions that make you feel weak.
Boom. So you're trying to tell me a year ago, he understood that you cannot fear feeling the emotions that make you feel weak. Man, appreciate you, man. Should be doing the show. Man, it's just as important. And that's patience. He's exhibited patience. But now, all of a sudden, back then, when he's talking to Lewis Howes, he understood being vulnerable. Now, all of a sudden, now in the present, when he went on Cam Newton, I guess about a month or two ago, up to now, he's talking about men should not show vulnerability. How is this man at this big age regressing? That's what makes me think he's not stupid, because he knew it. I had to go look, and I'm like, he couldn't have always thought this. He couldn't have always thought that men shouldn't be vulnerable. Not when I saw him talking to the little boys. There's no way. And he didn't always feel like that. It's something new. And when you have a complete 180 on something as big as vulnerability and whether men should feel it, as human beings, I gotta think you're grifting, man. I gotta think you're a scammer. Gotta think you're a scammer. So, man, let me bring that down real quick. Pull up my next little thing. We're about to hit on chapter 4. We're gonna get into some the positivity, the power of positivity, because you do need to heal the trauma. All right, let me get the timestamp. It was 49:11. Bam. Boom. Got that. Share that. Expand that. All right, cool. Now, this is Professor O. He is got one of them degrees or whatever. One of them degrees that, he put professor, doctor, all that good stuff. He's pre-licensure, so he hasn't gotten his full hour CEUs, whatever they need. I can't speak to it. He does a whole spiel on it in the beginning of his videos or something like that. But this is him. There we go. I got about 60 seconds on this real quick. I accidentally scrolled up. Boom.
Because what women are doing is emotional manipulation, and what men is doing is psychic suicide. We need to stop this on both sides. Right? But black men specifically, this is our generational curse to break. It is ours. We cannot hold anybody else accountable to this. We can't. We cannot. Black men, our generational curse in the black community to break, our cross to bear, is the removal of this idea that expressing love or expressing vulnerability with black women is not masculine. You need to heal your mother wound. You need to heal your mother wound.
And that's what Jason is preaching against now. For whatever reason. I'm not sure why he flip-flopped. I'm going to show an example of him working with the child so y'all can see what he exhibited. How he embraced vulnerability, coached it, and then taught around it. How to challenge the negative self-talk. And then how to regulate your feelings behind it. I thought this was beautiful.
Step forward. Take your time. Yeah, stay there. Good. Zeus, come on. Step forward. You didn't move. You got to step forward. Right there. We ain't going all the way back. We're getting late. Come on. Zeus. Put them hands up. Zeus. Step back with your right leg. Switch your feet. Step back with your right leg. That's forward, son. Look at me. Watch this. Stay there. If this is my left leg, I'm stepping back. Stepping back. Hands up, hands up, hands up. There you go. Zeus. Zeus. Step back, step back. No, we're working on coordination. That's why it's hard. Let's go. What you crying for? What you crying for? Why are you crying? Talk to me.
I don't feel confident in myself.
You don't feel confident in yourself? Why not? Look at me, son. Why not?
Because I keep have to do it over again.
Over and over again doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It just means you have to practice, son. Have I yelled at you? Have I done any of that? You haven't done this before. Remember what I said about Einstein? He's on record as being one of the smartest men ever to exist. He says it's not that I'm smarter than anyone, it's just that I stick with problems longer. So in this case, it's not that he understands how to move his hands and feet better than anyone, it's just that I keep trying over and over again till I get it. You understand? All right, get your hands up. Y'all did not give you a spirit of fear, did he? Spirit of what? Power, love, discipline, right? Let's say self-control.
Yeah, so you got him through it, man. Compassion and patience. But he held space for the boy to be vulnerable. He held space for vulnerability and spoke to the vulnerability because it didn't need to become an insecurity. I am going to bring up, I'm going to skip that video because we already 2.5 hours in. I'm going to skip that one. It's 3 minutes, but it's still. I want to show a couple of people talking about, a couple of different people talking about the difference between vulnerability and transparency, because that was a big sticking point. Vulnerability, transparency. Vulnerability, transparency. He kept on that. He kept on that. So I want to hit this. Yep, patience, compassion, understanding. Didn't manipulate. Didn't shame him. Actually coached him up and said that not getting it right is normal. This is your first time doing it. Don't be harder on yourself than you should be. It's illogical. Your feeling is telling you that you're wrong, but you're right where you need to be. You're learning. Progress bar. Thank you. Come on. You gonna work? Nope.
Vulnerability and transparency. Vulnerability is you can see into my life, but you can affect me. Transparency is basically the same thing as there's a window between us. You can see, but you can't touch. There's this big piece of bulletproof glass that won't let you have access to my heart and to affect me emotionally, mentally, and therefore I am protected from you, even if I share deep things within my life. A lot of people do this in influencing and different platforms, but the problem with this is a lot of people are transparent without being vulnerable in their close relationships. And the bigger problem with that is when they do that, people around them, family, friends, their love is not affecting the heart of these people that are transparent but not vulnerable. Make sure you're a person that scrapes to be vulnerable, not just transparent. The difference between
There's one.
I had mastered the art of the front porch conversation, right? Inviting you up, giving you a drink, making you feel welcome and at home, but never beyond that. Never inviting you inside through the front door and into the living room. See, I had mastered transparency, but I avoided vulnerability. And those couldn't be any further from each other. They couldn't be any more different. Transparency is sharing something you don't know about me. It's apparent. Vulnerability, though, is sharing something I don't want you to know about me. It's sharing something that I would rather be kept secret. It's I would rather run and hide under this keyboard right now than tell you that.
2. Let's go. Come on, fellas. Come on, fellas.
Surface transparency, below the surface vulnerability, and I want to invite you to go deeper and go deeper and go deeper. That's where healing happens. Without it, you cannot thrive. Man, the last 8 years of my life, as I've opened up those doors and invited men into those spaces and invited my wife into those spaces, that's where I've begun to experience healing and wholeness. We're broken, right? We're fractured. But that repair can begin to happen when we invite safe people into those depths. On top of the surface transparency, below the surface vulnerability, and I want to invite you to go deeper.
I appreciate
and go
you.
deeper.
Appreciate you, sir. Appreciate you, sir.
Is making yourself susceptible to harm. The vulnerability is making yourself susceptible to harm. The willingness to be emotionally open, honest, and exposing some part of you. Transparency, on the other part, is just really referring more to openness, providing a level of clarity about your intentions and where you stand and what you aim to do. On a business standpoint, it could be even from data or strategy or things of that nature. So it's more of a, hey, let me give you access to this information about what I'm about to do. Transparency. Vulnerability, on the flip side, is finding the courage to say, this is something that I worked really hard to bury, but here, let me open this casket and show you what I put in there.
That's what I wish he could have gotten to. I'm not sure why, man. I'm not sure why he felt the need to almost demonize vulnerability. because vulnerability for deep connections is necessary. And you do have to have courage to be vulnerable. It is a skill that you develop, because you also have to develop discernment, because you can't be vulnerable with everybody. And you can't worry about the places that you don't know that you're vulnerable. You just have to do your best to be protected and safe at the same time. The perceived message is always social and of the masses. All of these ideas are based in personal and private relationships, yet perceived socially or of the group. There's a lot to do with the bull of a public perception, if you will. Yeah, it's because, like you said, it's interpersonal, but we talk about it very generally, and it's hard to do because we're not seeing it, and it looks different between each dynamic. Like you and Courtney is going to look different. How transparency and vulnerability is going to look different between you two, between me and somebody in my life, and then between Yella and somebody in his life. And even within our lives, transparency and vulnerability is going to look different depending upon the relationship. Me and my homeboy going to have a different level of transparency and vulnerability than me and my mom, or me and a woman, or me. There's going to be different levels to it. So, I mean, all of that's valid, completely valid. And having the public conversations is difficult because we're not bringing real examples to bear, except for things that people have recorded for social media, which means they could be contrived, they could be manipulated. You know what I'm saying? So it's really difficult to get the truest example. So that was chapter 4, man. We are too big. Chapter 5, man. Niqqa, please, man. This dude. Woo, man. Let me leave this up for the timestamp so I can find it quickly, so I can, quickly get to timestamps later on. So I'm skimming. It's up long enough for me to see it when I'm moving fast. Man, appreciate you. All of this is a false reason to not go to that's a bad reason to not go to therapy. The word vulnerability can't be the reason that you stop going to therapy. That's the most embarrassing piece of this. There's some dude that walked out of therapy like, I ain't no bitch. That's weird to me. All these topics are ones that are dealt with absolutely. And there are different types of therapy that tackle different things with different modalities or different ways. So, like, therapy is not just one thing. I wish he would have had a comprehensive man would have had a more comprehensive approach to a dude leaving therapy worried about being vulnerable. Like, I'm really disappointed that this man came away with, that's righteous. You walked away because it's in conflict with your warrior spirit. You're not supposed to be vulnerable. Adam wasn't vulnerable. Jesus wasn't vulnerable. Epigenetics, you got trauma locked in your genetics that don't make you want to be vulnerable. All right. Ooh, hold up. Ooh, okay. Give me a sec. Woo. Let's get into a little woo. Little bonus time. Where's that? All right, now, ooh, so soon as I get a hold of my throat is vulnerable. Pause. I had to give me a cough drop. Man, throat lozenge. Woo. All right. Now, other than transparency, I have not really had too much of a problem with Jason Wilson. Now, it's transparency is a big issue, telling men that they should not be transparent. That's a pretty big issue for me, conceptually, philosophically. But I don't like no pause. Pseudo religious people. They typically rub me the wrong way because they'll pretend to know more than they do about the religion. You meant it, but not like that. So this guy is also one of those people. Listen to what he says and what Jason Wilson does. He was on the Cam Newton show recently. Cam Newton does a sign at the end of his show with every guest. They're going to show it, and they're going to make a claim.
Believe it was Cam Newton. He was trying to get the brother Jason Wilson to do a ritual, and what you're about to see, like I said, guys, a lot of people are not going to be able to see it. It's a demonic spirit on Cam that's going to manifest. Guys, open your eyes.
It's going to look similar like this. We got your camera or my camera right here, your camera right here, our camera right here. It's going to be one finger, then we're going to add the pinky, then add the thumb, and when I say all together, we're going to say what? One love. You ready? Here we go. One finger. You got to do it with me, brother. That's just the sign of love.
Okay, so I hear you. Can I share something else? Please. This symbol is called Manhood. It's a satanic salute as well. Google it. So for me, listen.
Google it, son.
Listen to me. Listen, Cam. Listen.
Y'all see the spirit? So what?
Now this dude is saying Cam is having a demonic fit because he's frustrated. Because at the end of 2 hours of Jason Wilson like correcting him on things, he's frustrated. Frustration, which is a normal human emotion, when people are constantly resisting what you're saying or not going along, providing friction, it can become frustrating. If he felt the feeling, it does not have to be a demonic expression.
What you're seeing right now in Cam, it ain't him, bro. It's a demonic spirit.
That's the most embarrassing. I hate that. But anyway, he was doing a hand sign. The Manu Cornuta. This is the classic devil horns or malocchio. I'm not pronouncing this right. Malocchio. It's Italian. That you have the thumb tucked with that sign though. The thumb is supposed to be tucked. It's supposed to be enclosed. Now the same horns with the thumb extended is the ASL sign, American Sign Language for I love you. It combines the letters I, pinky up, L, index and thumb, and the Y, pinky and thumb. It was popularized in deaf culture and later adopted by pop culture, celebrities, and athletes like Cam Newton to signal love to fans or family. Now, first I'm going to ask, why does Jason Wilson know obscure satanic symbology? That'd be my first thought. If I'm a conspiracy theorist. Oh, why do you know? How do you know satanic? I don't think that's common knowledge. Not to me. I've never heard anybody say that. Been around 46 years. Never heard anybody say that particular thing was satanic. It's bullshit, so you don't need to be able to pronounce it. But superstition is the playground of dumb ninjas. So he is up on satanic game because that particular sign was used in witchcraft. So it would stand to reason that Jason Wilson wouldn't do anything that had ever been associated to witchcraft, because we're talking about old Italian folklore, and it was actually used to ward off evil, or the evil eye more specifically. So if he's that worried about Italian superstitious spiritual practices, you would expect him to not do anything that's associated with witchcraft or the occult or to pagan practices. So now this man can't blow out candles. He can't wish on a star. He can't knock on wood. He can't use the names Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, as they are all pagan Norse gods. He'd be invoking their name and honoring them. And they were all witchcraft based in those religions. So this dude has 3 days of the week at least. And not really, because 2 days are named for sun and moon worship. And Tuesday is a warrior's day, warrior spirit. Tyr, or Tiw, T-I-W. I'm not trying to pronounce it. Not big on Norse mythology. But it's another pagan Norse god. So he's screwed. He can't do anything. Well, Hotep teachings teach you to know these symbols. Know your enemy. Yeah, they do. But then you need to know all of them. If you're going to be out here like this, you need old Italian Catholics, to be more precise. Our religion is a cult. Yes, but from their perspective, from inside the religion's perspective, theirs is sanctioned. Everybody else is an occult. Everybody else is pagan. But I'm ordained by the one true God, or the three true gods, or the seven true gods. But let me pull this up. Which video is this? This is just first for the hand sign. This is just for the hand sign first.
How do you say I love you in sign language?
Oh, okay. So it's just sign language. We only have a couple of ways that we only have 5 fingers. So it stands to reason that several hand gestures may resemble each other. So it's I love you. It's legitimate in ASL in America. American Sign Language, it means this. To old Italian Catholics, it means something different. If you're in a music setting, it'll mean something different. So the same gesture can mean different things to different people. Paganism is religion that has no church, therefore it is seen as a devil religion. Fair. So the gesture itself is fine. It's currently used in ASL. If you want to get rid of everything that's ever been tied to something that you would deem heretical, blasphemous, pagan, occultish, you're going to have to get rid of a lot of stuff. You're going to have to get rid of a lot of stuff. Now, I get it. Satan is the deceiver. It could be a satanic symbol, and they just want to convince you to use it by saying it means I love you. That inversion I talked about earlier. That inversion principle. Making something good, bad, bad, good. But if he is a deceiver, as they'll say, he also corrupts good things so that you would take something like I love you and make you believe it's evil. That's also a deception. Deception works in multiple ways. Now, I really want to point this guy out. I want to use Jason himself. I'm going to use Jason against Jason. Give me a minute to get this video queued up. Move this over there. Move this over there. Share this. Close this. All right. Now, I want y'all to watch this birthday video. This is from his daughter. Now, again, he wouldn't do the hand sign because it's satanic. Right? He wouldn't do the hand sign because it's satanic. Even though American Sign Language, it means I love you. Now, I want to show you how susceptible people are to things that we think we're not. Like one of the big things, there's a whole bunch of people that will crack down on something like boycott Target because they removed DEI. And I'm like, you're not really going all the way, because if them cutting off DEI is a problem, not only do they still have a DEI initiative, it's just not called DEI. They were trying to do two things. They were trying to serve two masters, so to speak. They got rid of DEI to not get Trump and them when they back. But they also did keep a diversity program. It was just called Bullseye. But nobody would do the search. Nobody would do a basic Google search and find out anything. Okay, cool. But then you're still going to a lot of racist businesses, places where the ownership or the management does not like your group or people based, or maybe not just race, maybe your orientation or something. But people don't do enough research to know which places actually fall in line with their values and morals. We're lazy. And we don't have enough time to vet everything and everybody. So it's not useful to be so superstitious that you can't do benign things if there's a plausible, recent, timely explanation like American Sign Language. So then you have to get evaluated by your own standard. And that's where I come in. Oh, no sound.
Mind you, this whole time, my dad was saying he didn't want me spending any more money on flights. And I'm just like, Dad, first of all, that money is going to come back with ease. Second of all, when it comes to my loved ones, I'm spending that money. So I ignore what he has to say, book the flight anyway, and I'm on my way to the airport, and thank God for Delta Curbside and TSA PreCheck. They save me every time. I had to finish editing a video, though, so I got a smoothie, did that. I got to my gate, got a seat upgrade. We loved that. And then when I got on the plane, I was knocked within 5 minutes. Landed safe and got to see my best friend. We got some smoothies. Ugh, love her so much. Then I had to try and walk in the house without getting caught on a ring cam.
All right. Now she's surprising her dad, Jason Wilson, for his birthday. This is where we actually start. I didn't skip ahead. That was my bad.
Like Mission Impossible. Of course, Shalom was the first one to greet me.
Of course, the dog has to be named Shalom. He ends everything with Shalom because he's dedicated to this performative Shalomity. Any religion that sees other religions as an enemy is a false religion.
So cute. My mom was on the phone and had sent my dad to the spa, so
Okay. So you see her. She's picked up balloons.
I went to go get some balloons because I love making things a little festive on birthdays.
Now, here you come.
What are you doing here? I thought you was flying. Hey. Thank you.
I was happy to see
Now again, clock the balloons. You saw
him.
balloons.
And this food, the salmon croquettes, the cinnamon
You saw the cinnamon rolls.
the grits, the eggs, everything was so good. And Chris, who runs the cave with my dad, stopped by with his son Canyon. Afterwards, he opened his cards and gifts, and then a little later, we took him to the
Capitol Grill. They go to Capitol Grill to eat.
Capitol Grill and had a super good meal. Our waiter Giovanni was so pleasant, and the food was good. We enjoyed each other's company.
So he had a birthday, and they put a candle up there. All right.
Happy birthday, Dad. I hope you felt loved and celebrated today.
Now, because this is a clip, I am surmising here. Can't prove it. He might have rebuked all of those things after the fact. We know he didn't rebuke the Capitol Grill because we see he sat there and ate. But let's go down the list. Because this is the ultimate test of whether his spiritual discernment is consistent or just performative. If he's going to ban a hand sign because of the pagan roots, then he has to ban almost everything in modern life. I want to break down specific items that violate his moral code, his spiritual code, the same way he used to ban that hand sign. Birthday balloons. Balloons are not just decoration. They are spirit traps. The origin, ancient pagans and later jesters would inflate the bladders and intestines of sacrificed animals. In ancient European paganism, the breath, spirit, was blown into the bladder to keep the spirit of the animal inside as a form of protection or offering. So by having balloons, he is engaging in a sanitized version of an animal sacrifice ritual where you trap breath, ruach, inside a vessel. A comprehensive man would never be caught playing with symbols of trapped spirits and animal sacrifice, would he? He wouldn't let that stay in his home, would he? No, he wouldn't do that. Meanwhile, a ritual is just simply a sequence of actions. The way we shake hands when we meet each other, that's a ritual. The way we flip a coin before the start of a football game, that's a ritual. The ritual is just the things that you consistently perform in a specific order to establish meaning, connection, or change in a state. It's not magic. The word ritual is not necessarily tied to magic or spooky. It's just the way we're coded, the way we do things, the way we transition from one mode to another. A handshake, toasting, like toast, to our anniversary. That's a ritual. Jumping the broom. Communion in church is a ritual. Taking up offering. That's a ritual. Combat. He's a sensei. Bowing before a match. Those are all rituals. So being ritual phobic is goofy. But specifically, the birthday balloon ritual is tied to paganism. Then we have lunch. He went to lunch. Oh my gosh, there's no way he went to lunch. Rashawn, what you talking about? You gonna try to tell me lunch got something evil, some evil connotation, some paganism? Wow. It's the trap of the noonday demon. The word luncheon itself is benign, but the concept of a midday meal was historically rejected by early spiritual ascetics because of acedia, the noonday demon. The ritual, Psalm 91, his Bible, warns of the destruction that wastes at noonday. Monks believe that at 12 p.m. the spirit is weakest and most prone to sloth and gluttony. If he claims to be a watchman on the wall, why is he stopping at the height of the day to feed his flesh? A true warrior, would fast until evening to maintain vigilance. Eating lunch is succumbing to the noonday demon. I know he didn't do that. and especially at the Capitol Grill. Now, if it was Capitol Grill with the O, Capitol, it would be the Temple of Jupiter. But since it's Capital, it points directly to Mammon, the demon of greed in Babylon. And here is how our hyper-vigilant kingdom teacher and protector could deconstruct the Capitol Grill. Again, where he ate lunch at. Capital comes from the Latin capitalis, of the head, and is the root of capitalism. In biblical terms, capital is synonymous with Mammon, the false god of money that Jesus explicitly warned against. You cannot serve God and Mammon. The symbol, the logo of Capitol Grill is a lion. To a normal person, it's just a lion. To a conspiracy theorist, one of us might say, that's the Lion of Babylon from the Ishtar Gate. It represents Nebuchadnezzar and the empire that enslaved the Israelites, which he likes to use all the words from. When you eat there, you are indulging in gluttony, rich aged steaks, which we saw inside the temple named after wealth, capital, guarded by the beast of Babylon, the lion. So the argument, how can you claim to be free from the matrix when you're feasting at the house of Mammon? Oh my gosh, there's no way this man could be doing that. My eyes must be deceiving me. My eyes must be deceiving me. God sacrificed everyone and every animal that wasn't on the ark. How is that not an act of satanic sacrifice by action? Like, what the fuck? More libations, right? And then we saw when he was at the house, they baked cinnamon rolls. Cinnamon rolls. I know, Rashawn, you're not about to tell me that there's some pagan root to that. Well, those are sacred sun wheels. Long before they were a mall treat, spiral cakes were baked to honor the sun god or the goddess of fertility, Eostre. The ritual, the spiral shape represents the involution and evolution of the soul. In pagan mysticism, the spiral goddess, it is a symbol of the womb and the sun cycle. Eating a cinnamon roll is consuming a graven image. You are eating the spiral symbol of the goddess. It is a fertility rite disguised as breakfast. No way. There's no way this guy who wouldn't do a basic handshake that, well, that wasn't even a handshake, I'm sorry. This guy who wouldn't do an ASL sign that says I love you. He wouldn't do I love you because it was tied to Satanism from some archaic, old Italian cinnamon roll equals coochie. Oh, sorry, I wasn't expecting that one. But hold up. There's more. There's more.
And the Most High get.
Oh, the Most High. Here we go. Is this man in a black tie and a suit? I know. Nah, he ain't. He's not. He's not. Oh, that can't possibly have any connotation outside of just being dressed. That can't have any pagan origins. Well, the necktie. Oh my goodness, wouldn't you know it? Wouldn't you know it? The modern tie comes from the cravat worn by 17th century Croatian mercenaries, hired killers. It was a military distinction of a foreign army. The occult symbolism, however, in the esoteric circles, Wilson often borrows from. The tie is widely considered a phallic symbol. He got a big dick around his neck. It is an arrow pointing directly to the genitals, the loins. It represents the obelisk, a pagan phallic monument hanging about the neck. The Masonic link, and many conspiracy theories claim the tie is a modernized cable tow. The noose placed around the neck of a Freemason initiate to symbolize submission. And he also bans a hand sign because it might be pagan, but he walks around with a phallic obelisk pointing to his crotch and a Masonic noose around his neck. If this man knew his history, he would know the tie is an idol. Yeah, this nigga here, this nigga that wouldn't do he wouldn't say I love you, but he's got a big dick around his neck. The European suits, the uniform of Babylon. Zephaniah 1:8, I will punish the princes, the king's sons, and all such as are clothed with foreign apparel. Now, the business suit is the direct descendant of the British and French military uniforms of the 19th century. It is the uniform of the colonizer. It is the attire of the Roman Western Empire. Not just colonizing us, but this is who was occupying Jerusalem when Jesus was alive. And you're taking on things that are fashioned after them. Wilson claims to be a kingdom man, separating himself from the world, yet he wakes up every day, has a closet full of things that are descendant of the people who oppressed and crucified Jesus, his Lord and Savior. Such an abomination. He dresses exactly like the bankers, the politicians, and the corporate leaders of Babylon. That's crazy. Not to mention the mixed fabrics. I think it's Shatnez. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. I'm not a Jewish person. But it's a violation of the Levitical law. Leviticus 19:19 forbids wearing cloth of wool and linen mixed together. You can't mix these fabrics. High-end suits are often wool, but the canvassing inside, the stiffener, is historically made of horsehair and linen, or the lining is silk, synthetic. There's so many different fabrics that these suits are made of. And then you got your shirt, and then you got your tie. All these different fabrics. Got your little, it's a lot. Does he check the fiber content? Does he check the inside? Does he check the lining? If not, he is potentially violating a direct Torah commandment while looking sharp for the gram. And see, this is why Jason Wilson is on my list. He spends all his time teaching you Hebrew words like Shema. Shema, you got to guard yourself. Shema. And a beer is a strong one. You got to be the strong one to sound deep and important. But he forgets the one verse that actually applies to him. Isaiah 5:20. Woe to those who call evil good and good evil. When he takes a word like vulnerability, which creates connection and healing and calls it death, and when he takes emotional isolation, which creates loneliness and heartbreak and calls it strength, he is doing exactly what the prophet of the Bible of God warned against. He's flipping the dictionary upside down to sell men a product. He's calling darkness light, and he's calling light darkness. This is that nigga that God warned you about. And boy, don't piss Rashawn off. Man, listen. That's what I'm saying. This is like when everybody be like misogyny, I'm like, y'all don't know how I really am. Because see, I don't go at them like this. I would never do a detailed deep dive on a woman because it feels excessive. I don't have those restraints with a dude. I will dig. And it didn't even take long. This dude's such a flagrant, superficial hypocrite that a simple Google search of his birthday yielded 2 videos that immediately contradicted that he knows anything that he's talking about pagan practices and pagan histories. He knows nothing. Anyway, got one more video, and it's a video you saw, but I want to call it back to your attention. Call it back to your attention. This part of the video specifically. Let me get it all situated. Boom, boom, boom. I want y'all to hear it one more time.
But if you're ready to go deeper, if you want to be trained by me and walk shoulder to shoulder with a community of brothers seeking to become comprehensive men, then join my Patreon brotherhood.
Join my Patreon brotherhood. All right. So he's flipped the dictionary upside down to sell you a product. Remember me saying that. What product is he selling you? He's trying to sell you brotherhood and a father. Matthew, it might be 23:9. For some reason, my notes inverted some of these numbers, but it's in Matthew. Do not call anyone on earth your father, for one is your father, he who is in heaven. Now, what he said was join my brotherhood. But where did he say that? Can somebody in the chat, where did he say to join you? Can somebody in the chat please tell me, where did he say to join him? YouTube is blocking my comments because I'm speaking that real intent. Yeah. YouTube be tripping. My man said, hold on, let me see what he said. Patreon. There it is. Let me leave that up here. You're so religious that you can't do an I love you sign while you are having people pay to sign up on the Father box. Patreon is the Father. Pater, P-A-T-E-R, is the root, is Father, like paternity. If you want to look at symbolism and what things mean and what they used to mean, look at it all. He would have you to improve yourself by directly going against what is said in Matthew by calling someone Father. You're directly subscribing to a Father site, a website purporting to be the place of fathers. That's satanic. That's against what Jesus said right there in Matthew. Patronus comes from the root pater, which literally means father. In ancient Rome, the patron-client relationship was a social contract. A social contract. What do? You sign up for Patreon. You sign up for my Patreon. That's a contract. The patronus, the patron, was a wealthy, powerful father figure who provided protection. What does he keep talking about? Protection, protection, protection. Provider, provider. A patron provides protection under a legal contract and legal help to clients. In exchange, the client gave the patron total loyalty, political support, and public praise. What do you do on these platforms? You subscribe. That's your loyalty. Political support, that's your money, your payment. And the public praise, that's your likes, your praise, your attention, your eyeballs. You sitting there in the chat. That's the client-patron relationship being enacted on the Father site, the Father box, which call no man Father. But that's where he wants to hide brotherhood at. Remember Matthew, call no man on earth your father. But he funnels all his sons into a platform literally named the fathering place. He is monetizing the father wound. He is telling men, I have the masculine secrets your dad never taught you, and I will sell them to you for $5, $10, $15, $25 a month on a site named after fatherhood. Then he paywalls salvation. He says, if you're ready to go deeper, join my Patreon brotherhood. Join my Patreon brotherhood. I will give you the free milk on YouTube. See, the babes get milk. The babes get milk. The men get meat. Pause. But I will give you the free milk on YouTube. But if you want the meat, if you want the real fathering, you have to pay the subscription. You got to sign the contract. He has turned brotherhood, which should be the place of connection. He's made that for pay. He's turned it into a transaction. So he's moved connection into transaction. So he's even perverted that. He's even perverted intimacy into internet. It's all satanic. It's all inversion. I don't like it. Brotherhood should be free and mutual. But now you got to buy it in tears. And now we talk about symbolism. We ain't gonna talk about the phonetics of TIERS and TEARS. Monetizing the level of your sadness, your pain, your trauma. You pay more the deeper your wound is, the greater you have to pay. You get a higher tier if you have a deeper wound. We ain't gonna do that. We ain't gonna do word magic. But that's there. If we wanted it, we could do it. But we ain't even gonna do that. When these pseudo-religious people get in their bag about what they can't participate in, I need everybody to always give them the side eye. Neely Fuller Jr. once said, if you don't understand the system of white supremacy, everything else will only serve to confuse you. This also applies to religiosity. If you don't understand the principles, you go astray. All we like sheep go astray. That's in Isaiah. Because the entire world is bathed in blood, in white supremacy, in different religious practices that become a cult to somebody else. Jason is confused, but he's confident in his confusion. And that's the most dangerous person, strong and wrong. So to close out, we done right around the 3-hour mark. So to close out, look where we end up. Jesus tells you not to call a man father. Jason quotes scriptures to say we're all brothers. But then he tells you to get the real training, to get the deep truth, to become the brother, you have to join his Patreon. You have to join his father. Patreon comes from the Latin word again, pater, literally meaning father. So he creates a problem, you feeling unsafe, and offers a solution, his protection. And then he charges you a monthly fee to rent a father figure. That is not a ministry for brothers. That is a business model built on your brokenness, built on your brokenness. And I got to ask y'all, who the hell's man is this? Whose man is this? Because once I did the little bit of research, I'm like, nah, I can't rock with this dude no more. Because either he's the dumbest person with all these coincidences, or this dude is purposefully perverting all of these principles in order to monetize these men's pain. I'll never support people like that, ever. And I'll always publicly denounce him. Then on top of it, he don't know what he's talking about, because he's up here doing the fertility pinwheels with balloons in his kitchen. Now, he didn't throw those out the door. Like, now you can't bring those in my house. It's the Umar shit, but from a different angle. Yeah, man. That's why I can't rock with people like this, man. So I appreciate y'all for rocking with me. Y'all have made it through all 5 of my chapters in my book, This Nigga's a Weirdo. Appreciate y'all for making it to the end. Woo! But yeah, man, I hope y'all got something out of this, man. I appreciate it. I had to get this off my chest because, dude, it irked me yesterday. It irked me. So I had to get this off my chest. I know Yella and Bree are both working today, man. Shout out to both of y'all. I'm going to try to get some time with Mr. He Said, because I got 2 streams I wanted to get him in on, and maybe drop the link on, get the public feedback on, because it's like black community thing. Shout out to Let's Talk to Blood and Black Life. Rest in peace, Brother Clarence. But beyond that, I'm not sure when the next stream will be. But right now, I'm going to go get something to eat, because I need a father, and my father wound is hungry. So I'm going to sign up to a luncheon and serve the lunch demon. But anyway, y'all, I'm about to get up out of here, man. Thank y'all so much for rocking with me and keeping the chat active. I appreciate that more than y'all know. Man, rest in peace, bro. See, I'm always open to be involved. I got you. I will include you in when I get that set up. When I get a time from Mr. He Said here, I'll see what your schedule's like too. But man, appreciate y'all. I'm about to head out. And again, if anybody catches this on the replay and sees this, like you skip around and you hear me saying this right now, I'm gonna get the timestamps in the next 24 hours. Maybe not get traffic on it, but I'm gonna do it anyway. That's my due diligence. But I will check y'all later. Peace.
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. Okay, I don't know. Whatever it is, it's not right on the teleprompter. I don't know what that is. I've never seen that.
No, there it is. We are going to do Sting, yeah.
Okay, but now I can't read it. There's no words on it.
Okay. Ready? Sure.
There's no words there. To play us out. What does that mean? To play us out.
Sting is going to do. It's a video. Sting video.
What is
for credits?
I don't know what that means. To play us out. What does that mean? To end the show?
Yeah.
All right, go.
In 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it.
In 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. And we will leave you with a. I can't do it. Okay. We'll do it live.
Okay. No.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it, and we'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks.
In 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks again for watching. We'll leave you with Sting and a cut off his new album. Take it away.